Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
I'll tell you, he disappears in Vegas much like Sasquatch in the forest. Let me tell you, couldn't find him. 1 minute he's there, the next minute, poof, he's gone. Gone. It's like Grantavius. In the studio, good to see you. Boom to you, gorgeous Bama. Lovely Linda, thank you so much for that awesome super chat. Very much appreciate your love and support of SOR. Thank you so much. As we got about 40 seconds here. Yay, nice to see you. And who else is joining us here? Let's take a quick look. Brown Dwarf, City Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here. If you see Uncle Dale in Austin, Texas, rub his Power Stash for good luck right through the 4th of July. World Bigfoot Radio Super Duke, gorgeous Vera, nice to see you both. Eris Mana, always a pleasure. And I think we're getting caught up here. I think we're almost caught up. We got like 10 seconds. Kawhi Snyder, nice to have you back. Reality's Edge with Lawrence Burchett. How are you, man? Nice to have you here. And you know what? That's all I have time for. Horns up. Time to rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, we welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Odyssey Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Don't forget to join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read Shirky Poo's News Wire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a 3-hour marathon tonight for you, as it is the SOR Roundtable, where it's the end of the month, where we take a look back at everything that was strange, weird, awesome, and needs to be talked about. We have a great panel for you tonight. Going the distance with us is author, researcher, and now member of the Spaced Out Radio team, Nicole Sakich. Mr. Tom Whitmore is with us from MUFON, as well as his own research with the MJ12. The man with 4,101 podcasts, Brian Bowden, is here. And he's a rookie, he's an experiencer, and he's got one hell of a mustache. Grant T. Mercury. They are all here. And we're glad to have this panel on with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on Spaced Out Radio. A great panel indeed, and we're going to get a lot of news here. We're going to start off with Mr. Tom Whitmore here tonight, because literally Tom was the life of the party, dancing on tables, taking his shirt off, swinging it around, bar dancing, everything at our Las Vegas fan party last week at the Golden Nugget. Tom, I don't know how you did it, and I don't know where you put your wig, but the main thing is you looked awesome. Awesome table dancing in Las Vegas.
Hey, Dave, and thank you so much for telling all those lies. It makes me feel so good. So important.
Nice.
It was fun.
You know what? I want to start off actually on a serious note with the Las Vegas fan party, because we literally put it together. We had no idea how it was going to work and how successful it would be. We really didn't have a real plan except for a live show. There were over 60 people that showed up for this. We had a packed house. We had to actually ask the Golden Nugget to fill more chairs in twice because we kept running out of chairs. Tom, for a little get-together like that, it was a lot of fun to be able to share some time on a not serious conference note like most conferences are and just hang out and have some fun.
Yes, it was, and it's always fun to meet new people. And I know Nicole and I have talked on the phone many times, and we've texted about different issues, and it's just nice to put a face to a name and to see you in person, Dave. I mean, we've known each other a while, and we've talked many, many times, and to see you in person, and really to see, I'm being a little serious here, but to see what a warm human being you actually are. But it was a lot of fun. I'm not a big partier at night, and I'm glad everybody else had fun that way.
Nicole, what's your thoughts? You helped me organize this and get everything going there.
You know, I dropped it into the chat already. You know, the Soul family's in the house. And that's the best way I can describe it. I mean, after going to some large conference events and even speaking at them, and, you know, I spoke at my first one last year. So it's like I still had that feeling of being on the other side, you know, that I am just one of the chat room members or just somebody from out in the community. And I was kind of wondering how our Vegas trip would go, like if there was going to be this division between guests and chat room folks and fans. But honestly, it was just this like enveloping atmosphere of, hey, how are you? You know, we had so many people from the Bigfoot community and the paranormal community and then ufology all kind of mixed together with our fans from Spaced Out Radio. So it was kind of intimate, set in the middle of, you know, Sin City. So it's just crazy fun and, you know, bonding, which is amazing. I turned around and Michael Schratt was just standing there and I was like, whoa, I need to talk to you. You know, and then I sat across from him at dinner. It was great. So, and I saw that happening all over the Golden Nugget. You know, our little groups of people were finding each other and just talking and having fun. So it's good times.
Brian Bowden, what was it like not being there and being able to not start up a brand new podcast because of it?
I was going to, Dave, because, you know, I need another one. It was really upsetting. I was watching it and I really wanted to be there and I knew how much fun it would be. And I've been to those conferences, which are a little bit more, don't take it the wrong way, highbrow or serious. And I would have preferred to be at your Spaced Out Radio where it seemed more like family. And that's what it should be because you're getting people from different genres, from the Bigfoot community, the UFO community, the paranormal community. Believe it or not, there is a connection there. Even though a lot of people in each community, like, don't come near me. You know, you're a UFO. Doesn't work that way. And I think it was a huge success on your part. And I give you and Nicole huge kudos to getting this done because this is how a conference should be. Sharing information and experiences. That's how we learn and research better and we can connect dots. You know, so next year, I'm definitely there. You know, or high water.
One of the coolest experiences outside of meeting everybody was a story that Nicole told where she saw these three ladies from Texas. Tell that story.
That was so fun. It was so fun. It was, oh man, all the days have blurred together. But it was after the event had wrapped up and I was, you know, in the elevator and then these three ladies come walking in and it's that whole courtesy in the elevator and saying, hi, what are you here for? Well, unbeknownst to me, it was a lady's 21st birthday, but not really. She was a bit older, just a bit. But they were celebrating. I was riding the high from, you know, the big get together, being successful. And she looked at this hat, actually, and she said, what is this? And I said, we're here for Spaced Out Radio. And before I could even like, blah, 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 what Spaced Out Radio was, she literally said, the Canadian coast to coast? And I just lost it. I was like, oh my God, blah, 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 Dave Scott. You know, we did our broadcast. And then, so we ended up being on the same floor, except different, you know, wings of this massive building. So I went back to my room, got all this swag, and I was like, I can find these ladies. They're having fun. They're talking loud. So I snuck back through the hotel and like listened at doors. And I found them, and I gave them a bunch of stuff. And it was so much fun. And then when we're riding to the airport, guess who walks into the shuttle? One of our ladies. So we got to see her and have fun and, shoot it up a little bit right on the exit. And yeah, it would have been fun to invite them in and share the love, but they got a little bit of it.
They did.
I wandered around the Nugget the whole time, giving out stickers and hats and telling everybody about the show. So it was fun.
Yes. And we got Grant up there who had one hell of a mustache. If you watch the live show, he walked in with the Superman costume on, and then, the rest of the time he was doing his best Freddie Mercury impersonation, which was absolutely lovely, and we appreciate it. As a guest and as a fan, Grant, how did you like the event?
I'm going to tell you something that I learned really quick about watching everybody that's been on your show, everybody that I met at Vegas with you, and in fact, other podcasters that were there, Joe, Ben, and the, what is it? That one time I was abducted by aliens, meeting all these people, I actually found out something that I thought was awesome. So first off, I love all you guys. I love watching all you guys. And as a fan, I was like, okay, I got a little nervous when I'm here to meet you. I don't know how this happened, but every single one of you were like family. And, your stage presence, your podcast presence that you guys have, it's not just a gimmick. I mean, I got to see your true colors because, we were all a little bit inebriated, and you guys were amazing. Every one of you, and everybody was just like, oh, you got a story, or hey, listen to this, and all these figures that I thought was just untouchable as a fan. Like, I'll never meet this person, and here they are live in living color, and we're outside and singing and having fun, and or some of us were standing on tables and dancing. But yeah, it was great.
Damn, Tom.
That was Nicole. That was Nicole.
I danced on the floor the whole time. I swear.
So did I.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. Yeah, right.
What was our hangout spot, though? Because, we should thank the Golden Nugget for letting us take over that live band
the
area.
Rush Lounge. The Rush Lounge. They did well for us.
They owned the night with us at the Rush Lounge for sure.
Even when you got lost in conversation with Sean Cahill talking UFOs just outside the bar, they waited an hour for you so you could pay your bill and get your credit card back.
Hey,
that must have been one deep conversation.
She got like 100% tip for waiting an hour for me. So we're best friends now.
That's good. That's good.
Honestly, the staff there was wonderful. I left my wallet or my cell phone probably 10 different places, and I always got it back.
Well, you know what? The good news is we're going to do it again next year. Nicole and I are planning it out. And Nicole, there's a certain rock star that I'm already talking to for next year. I don't know if anybody may know who that is. He may or may not do our theme song. Okay, I've already started that process, and I'm waiting for a response. But we are planning on doing something next year with it. And, it's going to be at the Golden Nugget again, I believe. We just have to set the dates and make sure that everybody gets a little bit more information. We're going to make it a little bit more organized than it was last year because we want our terrestrial radio family to come on in. We want our podcast family, our YouTube family, everyone to be able to experience this. And we are going to be putting on a one-day conference for all of you, which is going to include some great speakers. It's going to include a live radio show, and if we can get our music man, we'll have a concert afterwards, but we have a plan B in case that doesn't work, because if he's on tour, he obviously can't make it. All right, so we are going to have a plan B in place, which may include a little magic and may include a little music. as well. So we have a lot of cool things planned for next year. And this time, instead of giving everybody 4 months notice, we're going to give everybody 12 months notice. That, you know what, hey, if you're like me and probably many others out there, we got to save up for this. You know, I mean, it's you know, the event is pretty cheap, but I mean, there's still a cost to it. And we want to make sure that everybody can have a good time, just like we did this year. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to make it more organized. We're going to make it a little bit more fun, more events for people. Who knows what we're going to do, but we're going to make it happen. And that's a good thing. Nicole.
I was just going to throw in that I've already been talking with some employees at the Golden Nugget about having spaces set up for us throughout the casino. So if we do have these like little breakaway parties and gatherings in places, then we already have our own spots kind of just reserved. And, you know, so we don't kind of have to be in the herd without wanting to be in the herd. So that's what I think will be nice. Just kind of, we created our own spaces, so if they're there already for us, and just things, you know, little niceties like maybe a whole dinner area for everybody, a banquet, food, you know, things like that. Those are the things that are spinning around in my head, and yeah, it'll be fun. I love these kind of people, you know, service industry, restaurant, they speak my lingo, and honestly, we can make anything happen. So that's the good feedback I'm getting so far. It's just like, yeah, let us know. Let's see what we can work out. We can facilitate this. I love yes people.
Got a good idea for you, Dave.
What's that?
For next year. I've been really successful doing them. I don't like to call them CE5s. I call them active intelligent encounters. We should do one. You're talking about going to the desert one night. Why not?
Yeah, I looked into us maybe renting out part of the Alien.
Why not go out there and try to bring a couple of craft in? It's not a bad idea.
I mean, it's the desert and it's dark and we need a space. So
got to bring the night vision.
Oh,
hey,
definitely.
Melinda Leslie was ready. She had them.
Melinda Leslie and Misha Johnson were absolutely ready for it all. And you know what? I just can't wait to get back. You know, meeting the fans that we did. I mean, if that's any indication to how everybody is, we're pretty damn lucky. We are really, really blessed and lucky to have the people that we do who listen to this show. And, of course, we can't do an event without you guys there. I know it sounds like very much a telethon when I say that. Come on, where are we going? Higher. No, we're not doing that. You know, but the fun that we had together in meeting, and there was no arrogancy. There was nobody trying to, you know, pull away from people. All of our guests who've been guests on this show, like Tom and Science Bob and Sean Cahill and Katie Boonbeam and Lorian Fenton and everybody like that, we were all intermingling with the crowd. There was no, hey, I'm better than you, and I'm going to be over here because I'm a speaker, and you're the fan, so you stay over on that way. It wasn't that way at all. Guys, I know what it's like to go to a conference, okay, sit at a table with fellow speakers for 15 minutes and not have a single one of those speakers say hello to me. I know, Mr. Sid Goldberg, I'm pointing at you right now, okay? Mr. Richard Dolan, I'm pointing at you right now, okay? I know what it's like to be treated that way, and I was a fellow speaker, and be damned if that's going to happen on our watch with Spaced Out Radio. And all of our guests, our special guests who attended, they knew that. And they wanted to hang out with the crowd. They wanted to get to know you guys. They wanted to hear your experiences and have that beer with you and talk about the really cool woo. I mean, Tom, you experienced that with many people.
Oh, yeah, and I enjoyed meeting everybody, and the only problem for me is that in Las Vegas, it's when you're inside the casino in terms of sound and noise, it's like a little hell. And you go in these restaurants, and restaurants are ordinarily noisy because everybody's talking at the same time in the whole restaurant. Then they crank the music up loud on top of that. So I'm just the kind of guy that likes to have a conversation at the dinner table rather than yell and what did you say? But everybody was just super nice, super friendly. I actually got to talk to Michael Schratt, and that was really a blast. And I got to see people that I don't normally get to see. That's the whole point. That's the whole point from my point of view of going to symposiums and going to conferences, is making that personal contact.
Absolutely. Grant, what did you learn?
Oh, there's quite a few things I learned by talking to most of the people that were there. And a lot of people have the same experiences, and a lot of people want to talk about their experiences. And when you're talking about, the host and the fans mingling, that was 100% there. I mean, they could be at dinner, and you could walk right up on them. They'd just invite you to sit down. It was totally amazing. I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Nicole, you get the final word on the event.
I think the final word is just honestly, I think everybody that was invited as a guest, or even just people that wanted to show up and give their support. A couple people we didn't even plan on bringing up during the live broadcast. And then they went up there and they did their part and they shared their love. And so just those little surprise moments of, like when we brought up our SOR artist, Dirty Filth, and had him set down. He was so nervous, but then, it's like he kicked it in, and then we got to show all his art, and he was wandering around like doodling and passing out little filthy art to everybody that we encountered. That was amazing. And then, I'm thinking of the moments where like the Mystic Simba walked in, and then just, Lorian and Melinda and Misha together, just that was flabbergasting to me. It's like there's such a force of love.
Looking for a fun, family-friendly getaway? A nice adventure? Come have a blast at the West Baton Rouge Convention and Visitors Bureau Kite Fest, Louisiana. On April 30th and May 1st, come out for kite flying, huge fireworks at dusk on Saturday night, inflatables, workshops for kids, food vendors, and much more. Bring your lawn chairs, your blankets, and spend an amazing weekend at Kite Fest, Louisiana. Exit 151 Rosedale Road. Find events at westbatonrouge.net and like us on Facebook for more.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
Love and energy and knowledge. And just Katie Grabowski, we didn't grab her up, and make her say anything, but she's so knowledgeable, and just, getting to know her was a blast. And you looked out in the audience and you see like this overwhelming support of fans and fellow researchers, just like so into what everybody else is into, and showing that support. Like the Bigfooters, they blew me away. Like when Carter and his hair theory, wow, I was just floored. So, just every person, and Michael Schratt I was so impressed. He like walked in, had these 2 binders, and was just like, let's do this, and just cranked out so much information in what, 20 minutes, 30 tops? And we were showing all the artwork and the sketches, and it was just amazing. So just all of that, the presence of it, and everybody being so open, about sharing their stuff. Nobody was like, I can't really talk about that because it's a work in progress or whatever. And, it was just transparency, sharing, and openness. What more can you ask for? So maybe some personal quiet space. That's what Tom asked for. And that's what I'm trying to make happen. It's just, these little areas, like I said, where we can have those conversations without, it's like you think you're whispering to somebody like, hey, this time where I think I was abducted, and you're really like, hey, I think I was abducted.
Right. Well, you know what? I will say this. Thank you, Nicole, for your incredible help in getting everything organized, and to Bree, Thin Lizzie Borden for organizing and getting everybody their swag bags. We tried to have a little bit of everything for everybody, and it was a massive success. I cannot wait to do it again next year and meet more people and more fans and make sure that everybody has a good time as well, because in the end, that's what it's about. It's about the fans, and it's about having a good time, and it's about bringing the communities together, just like we did on a small scale here very much. I'm going to get everybody to hold on. When we come back on Spaced Out Radio, we're going to talk about Luis Elizondo. He's about to leave ufology. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Did we bite the hand that feeds us when it comes to the source of information? We'll be back with the Roundtable. Brian Bowden, Grant T. Mercury, Nicole Sackage, Tom Whitmore, and myself on the mighty SOR.
Whiskey.
All right, we're clear, guys.
Yeah. So I got a question real quick. Dave, did you ever meet that KISS guy that was out?
I was right beside him, but I never met him.
Oh my gosh. He has an amazing story. And I think Katie.
Katie and Bree.
Yes.
Katie and Bree got his amazing story. That's what was so fun, because, our
I'll be right
phenomenology
back, guys.
spills out into Las Vegas. So we're talking to people on the streets, and lo and behold, just like an amazing street performer. He's done up like KISS. What are you guys here for? And it's like, UFOs. And
all of a sudden he got serious.
Oh, totally. He was like out of character, like stopped what he was doing. And he's like, my great uncle was part of the crash cleanup crew. And just my skull blew open right there. I mean, him and his family had been interviewed by different researchers, and he was dropping names, and I was just like, instantly, I was like, "Where's Michael Schrad?"
Yeah, really.
It was just amazing.
Michael, where are you when we need you?
So random. Yeah, exactly. Where is he? But true to form, we walked in the building, and who did we send out? Bree and Katie, and they got the job done. I think they even video recorded his story.
Oh, did they?
That's awesome.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll ask the girls. They'll drop it in. But, I also do want to bring up the double B's and double J's that were running around with Ben and Joe.
Yep.
And was it another Bree and Jamie? Was that our other B and J from that one time I was abducted? They were fun. Those girls and guys were running around. I think the girls were doing little shorts of like the Vegas party and keeping YouTube posted. And I went in and looked, and it was so fun. It was just like everybody hanging out in Vegas. It's like, there's somebody. There's somebody.
Oh, it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I just sent you a picture. You ought to look at it real quick.
Oh.
It's being Las Vegas. I've been there once, and I would expect there would be not only experiencers there, people connected to Roswell and some significant crashes and information. But, just think about the possibility that you could have been amongst actual extraterrestrials at this point. Because I know a couple people that research out in Vegas. They're just local guys, they do it by themselves. And if I have something in the West, I'll call them up. Hey, have you heard about this? And they swear that they've encountered these strangest people on the planet there. One guy they described, he goes, I'll try to get video, but when you talk to him, he kind of goes out of focus. And I'm like, what? And he says, it looks like he's out of focus. And I'm like, really? I said, yeah, you look at him as straight ahead, he's fine. But when you get a little peripheral vision out of him, he looks like he's vibrating. And that was very interesting, because my group that used to do live meetings in two parts of New York State to allow experiencers to come in. We had a guy named John that used to visit us. Unfortunately, he passed away, but John was always there, a really nice guy. And one night while we're doing a presentation, that guy really was out of focus. And I don't, when I'm driving, I'm not drinking or smoking anything at that point. So I was talking to my partner in crime with this. I'm like, dude, did you see John? He's like, yeah, why? I'm like, dude, he was out of focus. And he's like, what? And I'm like, he was like vibrating. It was the weirdest thing. So that was pretty cool.
Honestly, and I know there's people that can attest to this, Vegas is a giant labyrinth, and every casino is like a labyrinth within a labyrinth, and the sounds and the lights, like, I would make it halfway through the labyrinth, which is just a weavy circle, and then I would be so disorientated. It was like, where am I? Which direction did I just come from? I literally got lost so many times just going in a circle.
I just got a couple things I want to quickly say. Hi, John Music. I hope your hair and mustache and beard are nice and high and tight tonight. Thank you for coming on in. Hi, gorgeous D. Swigger. Nice to see you back. Those gorgeous pins are Flactum. Welcome to SOR again. And who else is here? Kronos, nice to see you. I'm way behind here in the chat room, guys, so I apologize. And let's see here. Steam Train Mark in Australia, how's tomorrow looking? Please give us an update if I'm alive or not. I'd appreciate that. And Obi Flett, welcome back. And we're going to get going here in like 7 seconds, and I'm still not caught up. Here we go, everyone. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate all of you earning and listening in and us earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the SOR Roundtable. Joining us tonight from MUFON, Tom Whitmore, from Grant Cameron's assistant researcher, author, and now part of Spaced Out Radio, Nicole Sackich, the man with 2,888 podcasts, running all simultaneously. He hosts them all, Brian Bowden, and newcomer, experiencer, former guest, Grant T. Mercury. Welcome, everyone. And we are going to get into Luis Elizondo here, because we had Luis Elizondo on the show recently, and he made a real profound statement that once he's done this round of podcasts, that he is going back in black. And we're not talking AC/DC here. We're talking going back away from the media and getting out of the public spotlight. And now, Nicole, I want to start with you on this one. Is this a good thing for ufology or a bad thing?
Well, wait, because you said he's going away, but all I heard was Lou Elizondo said Dave Scott brings two different governments together to talk UFOs. So, sorry, that was my big initial takeaway. But yeah, Lou said he's going away, but he's going away to do behind-the-scenes work. So he's not really gone. He's just giving up the FaceTime. So that's okay.
Is it, though? Is it, though?
So. Yeah, because Sean Cahill's going to keep bringing us the lion's mane and keeping us filled in on what's going on behind the scenes. So, yeah.
Well, you know what? I don't agree with. I don't think it's a good thing. I really don't, because I really do believe, Grant, that Luis Elizondo is someone who has polarized the UFO community. Either love him or you hate him. There is no in-between with him. But the one thing that is guaranteed is that at least there is information flowing if you know how to translate his information. And with him now going dark, yes, I think Sean Cahill will do a great job. However, when you're the face of the franchise and you decide to all of a sudden up and quit, I mean, that leaves a giant hole with some giant shoes to fill.
Well, I mean, realistically, you got to look at it this way. I don't think he's leaving empty shoes behind. Like he was telling you, there's a lot of Easter eggs out there that he's left, and he's writing a book. We don't know what's in that book. And I hope there's going to be a lot of, nitty gritty fun things that we can all find out. And for the researchers that are out there that can, do the digging, find the Easter eggs, they're going to find out what he's left behind and the things he doesn't say. And actually a lot of the things he doesn't say is what he's really saying.
Tom, what's your opinion?
Well, I hope that he stays public. I hope that he keeps a public face. I think he's been extremely good for the UFO cause. He has put up with a lot. We have some irresponsible people in our community that had been attacking him and trying to make him look bad when they really don't even know what they're talking about. And at the same time, Lou has had to put up with what I like to call domestic opposition, and that is internal opposition within these government agencies and within the DOD. And I hope tonight, Dave, we can get into that a little bit more, this whole article that Tim McMillan had about in the debrief. But he had to put, so he was getting it from both sides. And I want to say that he did brief the MUFON board. I was in the meeting, and this is several years ago when all of this started. And I'd like to say that he didn't tell us anything that he hasn't told everyone else publicly. But he did say one thing, that he hadn't read any UFO material before he got into ATIP, and hadn't been doing that because he said that he didn't want to develop a prejudice or a bias. But I think that if he had been familiar with the UFO literature and UFO history, he might have had a better idea of what he was getting into, and when he had to be subjected to the kind of abuse that he's had to take, all I can say is welcome to the NFL. That's the way it is here in the UFO community. We don't like it. It's not good, but it's just something that we all have to put up with from time to time.
Brian, I know that you have had critical thinking regarding Lou Elizondo and what his role and position is, but is it a good thing or bad thing that he's decided that, you know what, I've pushed this so far and it's my time to leave?
I have no problem with Lou in general. I like, any of these gentlemen out there and ladies as well that do work for our country, I love. I love the fact that he was very vocal. The problem of anything I've had with Lou is what he does for a living or did for a living. And I knew he was going to be moving, out of the spotlight. It's kind of like an operational procedure from other individuals I know that do things like this for the government. I think he's going to work on, get his book out, recoil. People are going to want to know more, and it gives him a little bigger an audience when he does release the book. It's a good thing. I think it's good because he's not going anyplace. And if you think he is, you're being fooled. He'll be back. He's going to leak some information here and there to the proper channels with Cahill, and it'll be fine. But I just always am suspect of government workers for what he does.
Well, I think we do have to be a little suspect, okay? He is a spook. No matter what he says or does, he is a spook. And that's what it comes down to, and we can't forget that. Now, I've never been a part of the UFO fan club, which is the Church of Lou. and the religious
Yeah.
deity that many in ufology have made him. But I've never been on the side of where I am trying to absolutely rip the guy a new one because of what he is or isn't. And I think there is a big portion of, and the majority of ufology stands in the middle. Some people may not trust the guy because of his position, but they give respect because he's out there battling. And as Tom said, welcome to the NFL. This is what it's like in ufology when you're up front. However, in the end, in the last 6-8 months, he's gone through a lot. There was the documentary that many call a hit piece that was put out against him. There were many different podcasts calling him out, calling out his wife, his children. I mean, this goes way too far. And the thing that bugs me about it, and Tom, I want to get your opinion on this because you've been around with MUFON and ufology for a while now, but for decades, we have been wanting somebody of Lou's ilk to come public and talk UFOs. We wanted that insider, that quote-unquote whistleblower to come out and say, this is real. I studied this. I'm the guy who was doing this. And the minute he comes out, we can't stand him. Now, I will preface this, Tom. I do blame a lot of that on the way the To the Stars Academy was run at the beginning, and I think there's two Lou's. There's Lou previous to quitting the TTSA, and there's Lou post-TTSA. But I think that the reputation that he has today by many was given to him while he was with the To the Stars Academy.
I don't agree with the viewpoint that just because someone was with the government, maybe they were in intelligence or even counterintelligence, that they can't be trusted in the UFO community. That's kind of a ad hominem argument. I think you have to go by what people say, by what they do, by the example that they set. And you're right, Dave, because for years, decades, people in the UFO community have all but demanded that someone from the government come out and confirm that we're right, that we're really talking about something that's real. And then as soon as somebody comes out and does that, then they get attacked. The attack dogs come out and try to rip them to pieces. So that's ridiculous. And I think one thing that the point that Lou has been trying to make is that he is trying to get the government to be more forthcoming, or the Pentagon specifically, to be more forthcoming with their information. And they haven't been. But I think it's been brilliant the way Chris Mellon and Lou and possibly others that we don't know about have worked behind the scenes, and they pried this out of the DOD through the Congress. And they've got, I think that Chris Mellon, he understands the levers of power over there. He's worked on both sides. And we really should be just extremely thankful for the progress that they've made.
Nicole, your opinion?
I have to just completely agree with Tom on that. I mean, it's something that we in the community just talked about for years. And the few that had come forward just obviously weren't good enough because of various reasons of their career. And so this tag team effort of Lou and Mellon, I mean, it honestly, it should be a movie at this point. Like, how amazing is this and what it took to get it out. But honestly, too, this is a build on of the last 20 years and what we have been trying to accomplish with our activism and the government. It's just finally, we kept getting the rug swept out from underneath us. And finally, it was like we had enough people on the rug that they can't pull it out now. There's just too much involved. And I think this spills into other areas of government outside of ufology. This problem that we're having with compartmentalization and bottlenecking issues and people not having access, that's not exclusively our problem. Congress can see that, I mean, this is a step in the right direction. And I don't know if we can declare national holidays for ufology, then we need to have a Lou and Melon Day. So
The same day as our Las Vegas trip. Next
right. Or, like we celebrate Roswell and those things. Like we need to celebrate Lou and Chris Day.
Kite Fest Louisiana, named Festival of the Year by the Louisiana Travel Promotion Association, is back. The West Baton Rouge Convention and Visitors Bureau is proud to present Kite Fest on April 30th and May 1st. Come out and enjoy kite flying, our design competition, a kids kite making workshop, and a huge fireworks display at dusk on Saturday night. Plus inflatables, food vendors, and more. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets, but no pets or ice chests. To learn more, go to events at westbatonrouge.net and be sure to like us on Facebook. That's westbatonrouge.net.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
Part of the problem you have, with Luke coming out and people attacking him, and I'm not an attacking kind of guy. I keep my stuff quiet. If I don't like somebody, I just, keep it quiet. But there are individuals, or I like to say cults within this in many ways that people, line up. It's like Survivor, but with UFOs. You got the Greer people, and they are very, like, he can do no wrong. And then you got, the Stars Academy people, because it's a younger crowd or whatever. People are taking sides, but as a researcher and investigator, you have to take all of this in. You cannot discredit anybody. Mm-mm. And I'm not, it's not because you work for the government. I would be very suspect of what's going on, because this is a national security issue, whether you like it or not. I know we all want, they're real, and we've been working with aliens for the last 50, 60, 70 years. It's not going to happen. So you have to just listen and start assessing better. And, when something's too good to be true, 99% of the time it's too good to be true. But I think Lou should be supported more so than most of the other guys. He's been a lot more forthcoming than anybody else I've ever heard. So, I hope he's successful at what he does from this point forward.
Well, you threw me under the bus pretty good.
Well,
Dave brings governments together.
Well,
that's what that is.
That wasn't
Dave
supposed to come out.
forces.
That wasn't supposed to come out. That
Dave
I'm the
forces.
guy who brought the Canadian government and Lou Elizondo together. But it's true.
Really?
It's true. I had my sources. I had my sources in Ottawa ask me if I knew how to get a hold of Lou Elizondo, and I said yes. Would you like me to call him for you? And they said yes. So I made the call. And Lou said, I would love to. Can you send me an email with their contact information? And by the way, here is mine. I said, I will send your contact information to them. I called my guy in Ottawa, and I said, Lou's game. Let's get this done. I step away. I said, if there's anything that I can report, the only thing I ask for is give it to me first. It's the only thing I want. And we were part of that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Let me ask, because Dave, I know that you've sat on stories before, and the one that comes to mind is you sat on the Wilson documents, and then Dolan blew it open. So
don't even get me started on that one.
Where you could sit on a story and sit on it too long. How long did you have this in your pocket? I mean, this is what I mean with diligence. Like, not everything happens in this community. It takes time to make this network work. So how long did this take?
I had been sitting on the story for 2 years. I had introduced Elizondo to them in 2021. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to have that talk. I don't know who was there. I don't know who else besides Elizondo was in that conversation. None of my business. None of my business. I was just the medium man, the middleman, pardon me, to get everything in between. But the entire story of Canada's role in ufology, I'd been working that story for 2 years.
So the member of, sorry if I say it wrong, your member of parliament that was making news like last month, was that like your inkling of your behind the scenes was working? Do you know what I'm talking? I forget his name right now.
Larry McGuire.
Yes, Larry other McGuire.
I will say this. I was contacted by someone. I didn't know which member of parliament that they were working for or which party. That was never given up. I had enough information to trust that they were who they said they were, and they worked in government. Plus, the email that they used also showed me that they worked for the Canadian government. And when I made a couple phone calls to the main office, I know who answered the phone. Okay? And that's how I was able to decipher what was going on. And that person reached out to me after hearing me on the shift, where once a month we go on across Canada on the Shift Radio Network, or on Chorus Radio Network on their show with the Shift. And Shane Hewitt, he had heard me on that show and reached out to me via email in order to contact me saying, hey, what do you know what's going on? And that's how it all started. But as far as giving names and everything, no. And, you know, the one thing that Elizondo did say is that I kept it quiet. And for the most part, I did keep it quiet. I never said who the players were. I still won't say who the players were, because I need those sources for the future. Okay? Elizondo outing me last night was something that caught me right off guard. It did. I didn't know he was going to say that. But it's kind of cool. I was a little embarrassed by it, to be honest. It's like, damn it, man. Like, let me break the news on the show, right? You know, I mean, Hey,
you have to give credit where credit is due, though, and that's exactly what he did. But I have one final question, Dave, concerning this, since I'm giving you a little interview here. Honestly, like, I just know these little here's and there's over the last couple of years. But how many letters did you write that went unanswered? And how many times did you poke this bear and have to keep trying to move this ball forward? Because that's a lot of people don't understand in our community, that anybody can do these kind of things that we do, you know, writing congressmen, asking questions that never get answered. But if you don't keep at it, it doesn't pay off. And I know this is one of those situations where your fortitude and diligence of, you know, not ever getting responses or getting those letters of, you know, the dummy letter back where it's like, thanks for writing.
I never got the I never got the dummy letter. I had about 9 emails from 9 different journalists across Canada not returned. I had a phone call with the assistant editor of Maclean's magazine, who wanted to do an interview regarding the RCMP's role in ufology that I had found out, and take it from there. She never called me back after initial 1-hour conversation that we had, where she loved the story. She said if she could get it back past her editor, she would call me back in a couple of days, and that phone call never happened. I then reached out to Daniel Otis, who writes for Vice magazine and now works part-time for CTV in Toronto, about the story, and he was all over it. And that's where we kind of got legs. I had been promoting it on the Shift, on the Chorus Radio Network. I'd also spent some other radio time on one of our affiliate stations in Mississauga, Ontario, Saga 960, with Mark Petrone, and talking to him about it, you know, and there was just no traction. Nobody wanted to jump on the story up here. And to this day, even with MP Larry McGuire coming out asking about the UAP files regarding Canada's nuclear facilities, the mainstream media has not picked that up. They have not ran with it at all. They have done nothing with it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But there's a lot going on. We have a prime minister that is in flux with the Canadian people. We have a war going on. We have COVID still happening. So to all of a sudden get into the whole UAP talk, it doesn't make sense right now. And I understand that.
The gears are turning, though. That's what's important. Even with the no response back and the no mainstream media pickup, like there is action behind the scenes. So I'm proud of you, Dave. Here, I'm going to raise my coffee cup to you. Way to go, pal.
Thank you. Thank you. We got a minute to go here before we have to go to break at the end of hour number 1 of the SOR Roundtable tonight. Nicole Sackich, Brian Bowden, Grant Baker, and Tom Whitmore are all here. But getting back to Lou Elizondo regarding the news, and we'll probably continue this right off the bat. Tom, we got about 45 seconds here. Do you think we're going to see more names come out of the woodwork regarding this subject, like Lou said?
I hope so. And I think maybe part of the problem has been that Lou has had to carry too much of the water. He's been carrying most of it himself. And when TTSA came out, Tom DeLonge was going public, but he didn't really last in that role. And then Lou really went public, and we don't see as much of Christopher Mellon. I'd like to see more of him, and I hope that other people will come forward and be more public.
And on that note, we're going to continue the Lou Elizondo talk and the UFO talk when we return for hour number 2 of the SOR Roundtable tonight. We got one great panel from MUFON. We have Tom Whitmore. We have experiencer Grant Baker with a great lip blade. We have Brian Bowden, the man who literally hosts 2,228 podcasts, and researcher, author, and SOR team member Nicole Sackich joining us tonight on the Roundtable. We'll be back with more Elizondo talk when we return. All right, we're clear.
Oh, my God. When you said McGuire, I was going to show me the aliens. That's what I was going to scream. Show me the aliens.
Oh, man, I loved that McGuire segment because it was like him just hammering that other guy and the other guy like, what? And then it's like he defers to his, I'm going to call her a secretary, but she's not a secretary. And she's like, you don't even do it. She's giving him that look like, you're going to pass this on me.
Oh, I hear you.
And she's like, I'll get some answers.
You're going to get people coming out now. This is unstopped. This whole thing now is the best part about what took place with that nothing burger of a report for the public, but all the guys in, Congress and whatever, people are now emboldened to come out and tell their experience and their stuff. And that will just lead to more people. And over time, we will finally we may not get the official answer, but we're going to get something out of it. We're going to get enough, Tom, that, as an investigator, I mean, I know when I'm talking to certain people and I get information from certain people that I can't, talk about the subject because they do certain things, it's coming out. People aren't keeping secrets like that anymore. It's too important. So
I kind of agree with you on that one. I mean, there's a lot more people now that are coming out with their stories. I mean, just since I've been on this show, the last time I've had people contacting me about it. And I'm not even somebody that does the show. And it's going to get out.
It gets really crazy. I've been doing this for, thankfully my wife is really good about letting me do it for the last 20 plus years, really, but I've been doing this research since I've been a kid, but really seriously about 40 years. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it keeps getting better and better, and you get more information, and it leads you different paths depending on what you're going for or you're researching. Yeah, it's incredible. The only problem I always have for it, that I recall only 2 times in my life that I've had missing time. And the one that bothered me the most was recent because it involved my entire family.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And that one, and what's really weird, I have someone in upstate New York that has almost like a Skinwalker Ranch type of thing going, who's begging me, you got to tell them to leave. And I'm like, lady, you don't tell them to do anything. They do what they want. You can't. The scary part is you cannot stop what they do. You can't.
No.
So, but, you mess with my family, that's, my kids, we're going to have a problem.
That's a little different. And the big thing is like you said, you can't stop them. And with all these, the Nothing Burger report, or the one that Chris Mellon just put out there, that was actually kind of a fun one to look at. I wanted to see the shapes, even though everything was blacked out. But the fact that he even said, common shapes, I was like, there's your answer. Yep. That's it. I mean, that's saying yes without saying it.
Yeah. I've learned that. I have some friends that they work for the government. They're good, great guys, great people. And because I don't have a security clearance, you walk in a room and they stop talking. And we used to, go over and hang out with them because the other guys have it. You just know when you hit on something and you're right, and they kind of confirming it without confirming it. It's amazing.
Concerning the shapes, what I kind of laughed at with that is, we know the U.S. government isn't the only one studying this, and we have our allies. So, the U.S. won't put out any shapes, but the U.K. does.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Here's all their shapes. So, you can find the shapes and find pictures of the craft that are the knowns throughout, the 70-year anthology. So I like all these little blacked out things because it's just like, yeah, okay.
It's like a crossword puzzle.
It's like Stanton Friedman holding up all the blacked out lines saying, if this is nothing, why is everything redacted?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, I love it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think we will see more people coming forward, and maybe not just because Lou and Mellon, but when you look at like the 45ers that have been around researching this forever, and you compare it to the people on the lists that we track that have belonged to this group, that group, the anthology of the rolling working group, all of these eldest of the eld, all these wise ones, I call Hal Putoff at level 13 because he's belonged to so many of these groups. But if you sit back in hindsight and think, okay, all of these guys are over retirement age. They've devoted their entire adult lives to this. They've invested in it. And so now is kind of that moment. Are they going to go quietly into the night and not get any glory and recognition for their life's work?
No.
Or are they going to try to push for transparency right at the end to be able to go, I told you so? I kind of think it might be the I told you so moment for a lot of people.
You also have the people, like I met a woman named Joan, which she did a
10 seconds, guys.
Her great-grandmother she sewed the bombs coverings for Fat Boy and Little Man. She found the alien picture in her grandmother's stuff.
Here we go.
It's coming out.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quatisum. Oh, I butchered that. Quasidum. There you go. Quasidum is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the SOR Roundtable. It's pretty much a UFO night tonight. There was a lot of UFO news this past month. And joining us tonight, a man who literally hosts more than 1,700 podcasts all at once, Brian Bowden. We have from MUFON, Tom Whitmore. From SOR and researcher with Grant Cameron, author Nicole Sackage, and experiencer and former SOR guest Grant Baker, all joining us. And we're going to continue on with the Lou Elizondo story, because the one thing that Lou has said was that one of the biggest reasons why he has made this decision to kind of back up, and he's hoping Sean Cahill will take over the reins from Skyfort and be the public face of ufology, is because he's felt he's done enough, and he's felt that his family has been through enough. I mean, the stress on this guy, where he is literally getting sick all the time, he is tired of taking punches on social media where he cannot react to it, because if he reacts, it only causes more of a chain reaction. I mean, Tom, was this a lose-lose situation for Lou?
It has been in some ways, and I think maybe this is with the benefit of hindsight, but I think maybe if TTSA, perhaps Lou, perhaps Chris Mellon and some of the other people at TTSA, if they had gone around to some of the old timers and some of the luminaries in the UFO field and introduced themselves on a person-to-person basis and asked for their understanding and cooperation, I think it would have helped some. And when they started out, they went for the major media, CNN and Fox News and so on and so forth, which is fine. But I think that some people in the UFO community felt left out at first. I think that was rectified later when Lou started going on a lot of different podcasts and shows, and yours included, Dave. So I think we all learn from experience. I know if we could talk with Lou right now and ask him what he might think he could do differently, maybe he might have some ideas.
Kite Fest Louisiana, named Festival of the Year by the Louisiana Travel Promotion Association, is back. The West Baton Rouge Convention and Visitors Bureau is proud to present Kite Fest on April 30th and May 1st. Come out and enjoy kite flying, our design competition, a kids kite making workshop, and a huge fireworks display at dusk on Saturday night. Plus inflatables, food vendors, and more. Bring your lawn chairs and blankets, but no pets or ice chests. To learn more, go to events at westbatonrouge.net and be sure to like us on Facebook. That's westbatonrouge.net.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
Like that, or he might just think, the UFO community is not worth it.
Well, I think we've proven that to him. Grant, I'm very curious. I mean, would you as a father and as a husband be putting your family through that type of stress?
Oh, boy, that's a big step that he did there. And coming out like he did and doing it the way he did it, he must have a very understanding wife that he's taking so much flack over everything that he's been doing and all the work he's been doing, the countless hours, the hours over in D.C., talking to Congress, talking to the government, trying to get things, done, and being away from his family, his children. I mean, that's taxing. It's one of those things where, I mean, that takes a big man to do something like that, or maybe the opposite, but literally he felt it was worth it, and his family stuck by his side, and the community, for what it is, got a great man out of it. And yeah, he might be a spook or whatnot, but at the same time, he did it, and if he wants to back down and let Cahill take over the reins, by all means, man. If you look at a picture of him from even a year ago, and a picture of him today, he's tired. He deserves a break.
Oh yeah,
Brian, go ahead.
You know the problem. What Lou used to do for us in our country, well, the United States, it's something that's not very much in the open, and his wife and children never would have been in that kind of spotlight. I don't think he realized. I really don't think he really thought about how this would affect his family. And I think his family being affected like this, I'm sorry, folks, but if you're going to attack this guy's his children and his wife, you got a problem, and you really need to deal with it. It's not lose. Stop doing that. You don't attack someone's family because one guy's speaking. But I think what happened there was his wife was like, "What is this?" You know, she didn't sign up for this, nor did his kids. And that's why I think he's also recoiling. He's got to go back into that mode where they're used to being in the shadows. It should have been just focused on Lou, but, you know, there's some nasty people in this world.
Nicole, when you look at the entire situation, and I don't want to make this sound like a Lou Love-in, because I think that there were some critiques about him, to be fair, that were absolutely correct. I do believe that he could have been a little bit more open and candid with some of the things that he was saying. I never really agreed with the fact that sometimes he would go on a podcast that had less than 100 listeners, and he would drop a big bomb, and that shocked us all. But then he would go on a bigger show, whether it was ours or a show bigger than ours, and wouldn't even talk about that exact subject. I know he was trying to share a little bit with everybody and give everybody a piece of the pie, but at times I think he really tripped over his own legs.
Well, I think that harkens back to what Tom pointed out, and, maybe not wanting to dive into our history or our community for that matter, which I think is a pitfall that everybody falls into when they go the social media, mainstream media, podcasting route of trying to navigate our community. Like if I wouldn't have found a real life community first and then just tried to dive in online, I probably would have walked away from the whole thing and just stayed in my own little dining room researching on my own. So, things like that are daunting. And, Grant and I have talked with so many people over the last couple of years, and this does affect your family, whether you realize it's going to or not, whether it's you keeping your experiencer side closeted or not wanting to fill your family in on all the high strangeness, or if you're completely open with it. It's daunting on every level. So then to throw a public persona in on top of it, it's just, I can imagine, I've said in the past, the one thing that would make me walk away is if my son was threatened in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't need a spook showing up. I wouldn't need a tail from a black vehicle. It's just that one line. We're going to get your kid. And then I would disappear. But, it's all that. Here, take everything that I've ever researched and just have it. That stuff doesn't matter. And I understand wanting to push the envelope with people, but once you drag in their family, that's just, it's unprofessional. So I think that says a lot about our community and maybe what Lou dove into with these smaller shows. It is trying to navigate this minefield that's ufology. And you do want to speak to a younger generation because let's face it, this older crowd in ufology is kind of set in their ways, and I think he's acknowledged that our community is kicking this football down the field. Without us experiencers and people in the chat rooms and people that get activated and motivated to write congressmen and get legislation done. I mean, without us, they can't do that. And I think they thought TTSA was going to be a big enough megaphone. But when they realized that it was kind of a wedge in the community instead of being a bridge, then that's where they had to take a different route and try to reach more people and not be stuck in a polarized club of TTSA, you know.
Sorry, Nicole. I like what Tom said, and I like the idea of what you were saying, Tom, where, you know, maybe if you came to certain individuals within the community and said, listen, let's work together. But I also, you know, what Nicole's saying is correct. TTSA was supposed to be a grassroots kind of thing, and it became very much a bureaucracy. Lou's worked in bureaucracy his whole entire life. The best way to get this information out is bring it to the people. Don't bring it to the usual suspects. Don't give it to MUFON. Don't give it to, you know, Tom DeLonge and all these really, you know, people that have been in government. You give it to the little podcasts. You know, and what a better way to drop your Easter eggs on the smaller podcasts that maybe people aren't paying attention to. So you can kind of drop information without, you know, making a big splash at it and make people say, look, now it's your turn. Do some research. Mm-hmm. I think it's the greatest way you do it. I do it with our research, no matter if it's Bigfoot, you know, cryptids, aliens, whatever. We throw up raw footage because we want people to get involved. I've seen it 1,000 times. I'm missing pieces. And when you get the grassroots action going, the people, the general public, the SOR, you know, chat room in there, looking at your research and saying, hey, you got this here. I'm like, holy cow, I must have seen this footage 5 times. That's what Lou is doing. Nothing gets done in bureaucracy or a hierarchy type of organization. I apologize to, you know, I know a lot of people in MUFON, and it's like you can't get things done. It has to be in a certain order, and people need to just go out and research and share.
All right, we're going to change topics here a little bit because we're going to stick with UFOs, but the man from Britain, otherwise known as Nick Pope, has had some crazy commentary lately, and it hasn't been about his Velcro hairdo, okay? I mean, you imagine if Nick Pope and Joe Murgia actually accidentally knocked heads, you would never pry their Velcro hair apart. Ever.
I think that would be a cute hybrid baby. Oh. That'd be all right.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
Most recently, I am not a fan of Nick Pope, not just because he's never been on this show and we have given him numerous invites over the years and he's never responded to any one of our emails, but just for once, I would like to hear him say something original. Not spewing the words of Elizondo or Sean Cahill or Chris Mellon or Harry Reid. You're the man who allegedly worked at the MOD in the UFO room over in the United Kingdom. Give us some juice. We're thirsty, man. We're thirsty. And yet nothing. Nothing. But recently he comes out and makes a silly-ass comment about how Elon Musk may all of a sudden ban aliens from Twitter. Yes, you can't make this stuff up, but it's happening. I got to ask you guys, has Nick Pope, Brian, I'll start with you. Has Nick Pope really pulled the wool over the media's eyes that much?
No.
Because he's getting a pretty good paycheck for what he's doing.
Nick Pope is all about a paycheck. That's why he's not coming on your show. That's the bottom line. He's never been anything forthcoming without a paycheck in his pocket. He's getting paid in pounds, and he wants those pounds, my personal opinion. As far as that's concerned, I love Stanton Friedman, but there's just so much you can talk about Roswell. He was Roswell. And Nick is just, you know, I've worked there. We really don't know what the hell he did there. He may have been in the UFO room, but he may be getting coffee for all the folks there. We don't know it. I've seen people like this before. And the comments, I think he's just coming out because he's losing that fame. He wants to stay relative to what's going on there. Look, I'm Nick Pope. Good. Move on.
Tom.
Yeah, you're not getting him on your show.
I'll throw in a little bit if I can. And see, I think Nick Pope, that is kind of like his claim to fame. And I think he's been branded as that, MOD's Mulder and Scully or whatever it is. But I think that's what the community has labeled him as. And honestly, before I saw him on like Ancient Aliens or just popping up as kind of like our communities, I always just say he's mostly harmless. Honestly, there's nothing controversial about the man. He can speak on the topic very well. It's just the specifics. But when you learn a little more about him, like I first came across him when he helped Jim Peniston with some of the Rendlesham Forest research and John Burroughs. So, I do know he is out in the community helping people. I just think it's probably selectively. And no, I think he does good work. I think it's just kind of discreet. So
discreet when you are the public eye for everything. When you are the person who the rest of the world is looking at, when you're going on Fox or CNN or being quoted in major newspapers regarding UFOs as a consultant and an expert in the field, you got to bring something to the table like you're showing research and not stealing research. And that's my issue with it. Pope doesn't give anything regarding what he knows. He always quotes he was from the MOD because he has to. It makes him look good. But he hasn't brought anything to the table other than literally stealing quotes from the rest of the people who we really need to hear of. And for people out in the community who are still enthralled with this gentleman, that bugs me. That's what's wrong with ufology. This guy's, there's podcasts and everybody's saying, what do they call it? UFOs for dollars or something like that. Disclosure for dollars. The only one who's ripping off a paycheck right now is Pope because he doesn't say anything unless it's quoted from someone else. That's not good commentary. That's hogwash. And then he has the nerve to call himself a journalist when she's never been a journalist.
That's a good way to get on your bad side, Dave.
It is a good way to get on my bad side.
Does he eat breakfast for dinner too?
Oh, he probably does. He probably does. By the way, there were fans in Las Vegas who actually ordered breakfast for dinner.
Yep.
Enzo, where are you?
I love it.
Enzo, where are you? I know you did it.
Yep.
I know we're thinking about doing that in total just to get on your nerves, Dave.
Look, I'm not trying to be a jerk against the guy. There is a point where we have to bring out reality of what is going on. And when you are delivering, if you are in a position of authority like Pope is in front of the media, you have to bring something to the table. Otherwise, the only thing you're doing is staring at a camera with a bad hairdo and saying nothing. Grant, you got to speak here.
You tell me to speak, and thank goodness I'm a newbie at this, it sounds like. And because I don't know if I want to research that fella or not. I'd never even watched Ancient Aliens or anything like that to see him enough to even get an idea of who he is. But based on this panel, I might actually have to check him out just to make sure I can formulate the same conclusion.
Honestly, if I can butt in one last time, I don't think it's a Nick Pope problem. I think it's a mainstream media problem. Is he the only one getting phone calls and saying yes? Is it really his fault that he's saying yes? I don't fault him for that.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault.
Over the last 2 years, Grant hasn't gotten any phone calls to be on Fox or CNN or whatever. So, who are they reaching out to in the community? that's a newsroom media underling, that we talk about. They don't know what they're talking about. So who are they going to reach out to in the community? The mostly harmless guy with the cute British accent that everybody's just going to look at as vanilla, and he's not going to insult anybody or ruffle any feathers. So there you go. He's a dream in that respect.
Yeah, he's got a good agent.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's go with Tom.
No, I was just going to say he has a good agent. I mean, the go-to people all the time, and it drives me nuts, is Nick Pope, what's his name, Dolan. Now, every once in a while, Peter Robbins, but that was all, it's the same players over and over again. They're like Grant has so much knowledge and information, and he is very charismatic as far as a person. Put him on TV. He should be on these programs.
He won't stick to a script, though.
But see, that's the problem too. That's part of the problem. But there are other people. Like there's a guy that's researching out of the UK right now. He's probably in my top 5. Paul Sinclair. It's not just UFOs. He's amazing. They never call on him. I know people in the business that hire people to go on these shows for UFOs. They know what I do. They won't hire me. They won't
honestly,
put me on the show.
I was talking with a Fox News underling last year, and all they were interested in is like the crystal clear photos of a craft, or if somebody had an alien picture. They didn't want anything else, no other kind of knowledge or anything. That's what they wanted. So
you get an alien picture or a crystal clear picture of a craft, no one's going to believe it anyway. So
we passed them around all over Vegas. We were showing pictures.
But I think we're looking at it from our point of view. I mean, we're UFO people. We already know what we know. We're looking to hear something new, something real. But from the public perspective, someone like Nick Pope is fine, because what you have is someone from a government background saying that UFOs are real. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good thing. But from our perspective, he's not really saying anything new.
It's his pedigree that gets him where he wants to be.
It's like Ross Coulter said, our community is actually making the news that the mainstream media should be deeming newsworthy. So we just have to keep doing our jobs until they do it.
All right, we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour, and we will continue the SOR Roundtable with a great panel tonight. Experiencer and former guest Grant Baker. We have Tom Whitmore from MUFON. Nicole Sackage, researcher, author, teammate of SOR, and the man who broadcasts 3,000 podcasts at the same time, Brian Bowden. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio when we return. What, Brian?
I have 3 podcasts.
I thought every dimension and timeline. That's where Dave gets the 3 bazillion.
No, it's all good. And Pascal, I love ruffling feathers. I will do that.
I have to say, Pascal is. I love the man. If it wasn't for Pascal, there is no way I would be in this community right now. No way. He is my guru, my mentor, and he has a big part of my soul. I just love the man. Love the man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Peace be with you.
Oh,
I heard him the last. Sorry.
Go ahead, Grant.
I was going to say I heard him the last time he called in on the radio show and called in as someone else, and man, that guy is knowledgeable.
Well, put it this way: there's a good reason why Science Bob is now in contact with Pascal.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Pascal is, I know he's saying shut the hell up right now. I know he is, but I will say this to anybody out there. If you ever go for a car ride with Pascal and he says to you, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. You end up like this. That's what. If you want to be like this and look like this and feel like this, you go down the rabbit hole. Courtesy of Pascal.
How much time we got, Dave?
We got about 4 minutes.
Okay, I'll be right back.
All right.
I've shown people literally video footage of aliens, and you get the same thing. Oh, that's CGI.
Right?
No, it's not. It's not. It's real. I know you don't want to believe it, but it's real.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
The hell with them.
I'm going to try and get Pascal down to Vegas for our radio party next year.
Just put them in a crate, cut some holes in it, and just, some food and ship them down.
Yes. Hey, Butthole, thank you for being a new listener and for the couple of super chats. Very much appreciate it. And go from there.
Nice.
Have a good night, man.
That is awesome, Joe. That is hysterical.
Be right back.
All right.
Nick Pope and Alec Baldwin. Great comics.
Alec Baldwin could probably do a really awesome Nick Pope impersonation, honestly.
Hold on. Pascal, Nicole, where's your camera? Pascal is coming to my house next month. Yes! Yes! Oh, I can't wait. Pascal, you're also going to have to come up when Science Bob comes up for 2-3 weeks at the end of August.
Science Bob.
You're going to get Carl back. That's what's going to happen. You're going to hear some clickety-clicking.
Oh, yeah. Pascal's going to realign me. He's going to literally beat the tar out of me. Waylon, how you doing? Jan, Pascal is my personal guru. Cosmo Fang, how are you? Welcome to SOR Chat. I want to say a big thank you tonight to Smithy, Linda, Phil, Christina, Dirty Filth ×2, Angel, Rock the Gas Bar, Butthole ×2, 405er, John, Jalapeno, Catfish ×3, and Thomas for the amazing super chats tonight. Very much appreciate your love and support of SOR. Thank you so much. And, look at Pascal. This should be fun. That's right. He's going to literally spiritually beat the hell out of me. That's exactly what he's going to do.
And on the plus side, it's the playoffs for hockey.
I know. My Canucks just barely eked out of the playoffs. They didn't make it. But my Oilers are looking good.
My Rangers are hopefully the team this year. I hope.
They never get out of the first round.
I don't know. They got a shot with this one. They're going to have a hard time with the Canes either way. Canes are looking good.
Look at Filthy with the hat trick right there. We got 30 seconds, guys.
I love Filthy. He's a good guy.
He's amazing. He's absolutely
I love
amazing.
him.
Oh, I had a lot of fun talking to that dude.
All right, 10 seconds. Steve Franchise, unsubscribing. The Flames will win the cup. You won't get through Edmonton. Here we go, everyone. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you, if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the round table as we have a great panel for you. MUFON Board of Directors, Tom Whitmore is here. Experiencer and mustache extraordinaire, Grant Baker. From Spaced Out Radio, as well as research assistant to Grant Cameron, author extraordinaire. We have Nicole Sakic, and Brian Bowden is here as well, podcaster of more than 17,000 podcasts that he runs on 6 different 24-hour stations. Welcome back, everyone. Appreciate you.
It's like Bitcoin.
Thank you.
Yeah,
glad to be here.
I got to ask you guys, why is nobody talking paranormal anymore in this community? I mean,
good question.
This is something where, previous to the whole UFO flap that started 4 years ago, everything was paranormal. It was paranormal television shows. Every paranormal group was trying to get on podcasts left, right, and center because they had a pilot that was going to go national and get picked up by a national network. And now you barely hear of anybody doing anything paranormal. It's like the paranormal has just fallen to the wayside. Brian, I want to start with you on this one because you kind of delve into that realm of everything. Have you noticed that nobody seems to be talking paranormal stories anymore?
Yeah, no, it's dead. I don't even like to investigate it. Ghosts are ghosts. Let's move on type of thing. That's how I've been. And we've had a couple of cases of hauntings and we try to help people out. But in general, I think people have had enough of it. It ran its course. The TAPS people did their thing, and they did a good job at it. And Ghost Hunters is doing whatever they're doing. But, it's done. And a lot of this whole community, when you talk paranormal, even aliens and cryptids now, you get this, and I'm a faith and a religious person myself, but you get this religious stuff going in there where everything now is Nephilim or demons. Everything. I mean, it doesn't matter who. So it's become a caricature of itself.
It really has. But is that good for the community, Brian?
It's not. I mean, the problem we have right now is we have a lot of people up in these different groups that are storytellers. They're not experiencers. And a ghost story is great, if you're sitting by a campfire with a guitar, roasting marshmallows, but people don't care about it as much. It's not as interesting. It's not as scary. Look out your window. Real life's more scary than those paranormal shows, So I think they've moved on from that. It's something that it's not as interesting as it used to be. And people talk about seeing the same players over and over again. It's the same people everywhere you go. And they never show anything.
Very true. Very true. All right, Nicole, let's go to you here. Are you kind of disappointed that, within our community, nobody seems to be talking about a good ghost story anymore?
Honestly, I will say I think there's been the public backlash of just oversaturation of ghost hunting shows. And I think that has hurt the public conversation. But honestly, in the last 5 years, here, my local group, it's not a MUFON group, although I have talked about the ones that I visit in my area. But my local group is called the Prairie Land Paranormal Consortium and Central Illinois UFO Group.
Wow.
It's terrible.
You're as bad as the Department of Defense.
Right, I know. But about 10 or 12 years ago, it was like two groups that smushed together into one. And I don't know if it's since the popularity of like TV shows kind of has hurt the field, but I know locally I have gone on more ghost investigations or hunts or talking with people that have this ongoing paranormal activity. I've been brought in from the UFO side to talk about these similarities, and like initial visits always kind of floor people when they think they're just dealing with a ghost or a poltergeist. And then I can tell them a bunch of UFO stuff that kind of overlaps. So maybe they take a step back and reconsider that this is the phenomenon and just not a ghost. So I think maybe behind the scenes, we are kind of seeing a redistribution of what it really means to be a paranormal hunter. So that might be what's going on, across the community. They're rebranding it. So how can you talk about it if you don't really know what it is, sort of thing?
Well,
but I think there's networking happening. So,
well, I think everything is also cyclical too. Because, UFOs are popular for a few years, then it becomes cryptids again, then it becomes paranormal, and paranormal really had, let's face it, about a 19-year run in the late 90s going right through to the mid-2000s. I mean, that was pretty impressive, for everything that goes on. And you can literally thank television, whether you love or hate TV, you can thank television for putting the paranormal really on the map. And same as cryptids. They put that on the map as well. But you know what? I mean, yes, there's still a lot of good people, smart people, educated people who are trying to solve life's ultimate mystery. But I mean, to me, do you think, Grant, that maybe, just maybe, that because everybody can do it for a thrill, that the weekend warrior side of the paranormal has really cost any fascination with it?
Cost any fascination? I don't know. I mean, I still see paranormal stuff. I agree with what you guys are saying about paranormal activity, ghost hunters, stuff like that. I used to watch that back when it was on, and it was just a thrill to watch. But I'm still actually seeing it on other platforms. And, then you listen to other people where they're like, oh, it's consciousness, and these things have to do with that. So with the rebranding, that's exactly what I think in my mind is going on. It's oversaturated in the TV, like you were saying. Now something in the media is changing to UAPs, UFOs. You get, when Commander David Fravor came on and started talking about Tic Tac, that was a huge thing. And New York Times coming out with that. It's something different to focus on. But then if you go on other smaller, well, people won't consider it smaller platforms like TikTok or something, you'll see a bunch of paranormal stuff still there. A lot of cryptid stuff. And so I think it's just changed platforms, and there's still people out there that experience what they believe being ghost. And it's just your belief window that you're looking out of, or how you were raised or grown up, or what you just think the paranormal is. And, like you say, I don't know if you like TV or not, or if you watch, stream whatever you want on Netflix. And if that's what you're into, that's what you're going to watch. So if you're into UAPs, aliens, consciousness, that's what you're going to go after. And I think right now everybody's just going after the common trend.
And a big problem that no one really wants to talk about, the elephant in the room, is it went from cable TV, which we all at one point were paying for, which was free, to this exclusive streaming platforms like Discovery Plus. People don't want to pay $9.95 to watch something they used to watch on TV like that. It's just not worth it. And I think that's really going to kill that whole area, that genre, because Discovery owns a lot of these stations that where you get the UFO stuff, you get the ancient aliens, you get ghosts, you get ghost hunters, it's not as much cryptids or whatever, but I think that's a real big player why we don't hear about it as much.
That could
So it's
very
all
well
about
be.
the money.
Well, I mean, there's not a lot of people even on the television shows who are making a lot of money. They're gaining popularity.
You don't make money.
They're, we call them pseudo celebrities. It reminds me when I worked in radio in Vancouver. Everybody thought we were celebrities because we worked in media in Vancouver, but we sure as hell weren't being paid like celebrities. And unless you're one of the top shows like Zach Bagans or whoever, you're only getting maybe a couple $100 an episode.
Yep.
Right? And you do 20,
I can attest to that.
You do 26 episodes in a year at, say, $300 an episode. You're doing all that work. I mean, sure, they're covering your travel and your food and expenses, but somewhere in between, you're going to need to work in order to keep a roof over your head.
Yeah. The money's made after the first season. If the first season's successful, then you start making some kind of money, but it's not big money. Ghost Hunters was the third season where they got paid, and those guys, Grant and everybody over there, they made money. But I'm on whatever, there's different things on Discovery Plus that I've done filming for. You spend the whole day there, and then they give you a check for $400. Mm-hmm. And great, it is what it is. It's nice to be called on because you're doing this research, but you're not making a living off of that at all.
You're lucky if you're breaking even.
Yeah, with the gas now. Yeah,
or just resupplying yourself for what you do to do what you do. But I think what I would like to say lastly on this is just the other thing is I think with all the shows we saw like this pattern emerge. And that pattern, every episode was kind of the same. You never got things that were conclusive, and we all want answers. So that kind of hindered it a little bit. But honestly, it's like what we're fed up with in ufology. I think that pattern erupted in a division in the paranormal community, as in we saw these ghost hunters on TV, like trying to antagonize and, like calling out spirits and in just ways that offended other researchers or people that were going through things like this. And so I think when you see your work presented badly, that creates ripples in your community. And I think it kind of became a joke to a lot of people that did enjoy paranormal hunting, but then came the influx of, let's get the Ghost Hunter app in our spirit box. And like Dave said, you have a bunch of weekend warriors out there that don't really know what they're doing. Calling out a spirit in a angry way might be happen once in 10 years. I don't know that, but it seems like that's the route everybody took. It's like you want to try to antagonize something to get that parlay to have evidence. And it's just bad. I think it made it all look routine, I guess. So they got to have a new play other than just yelling at Grandpa so-and-so. Would you really want your dead family yelled at like that from the beyond? Stop it.
Nicole, let me ask you this, okay? Because one of my biggest complaints with the paranormal has been a lack of focus. What are you investigating? What are you trying to solve? I don't care about these teams out there who are ruthlessly trying to lock down locations so other teams can't go in and investigate. The majority of ghost hunters out there have no idea what they are trying to solve. I mean, I've interviewed them. Yeah. I've heard them on interviews. What are you trying to solve? Well, what do you mean? We're investigating the paranormal. Well, what are you trying to solve? Are you trying to? It's
all about getting something on EVP or camera.
Exactly.
As far as what I can tell, and what I always questioned is kind of back to the technique. Sure, set up all the tech. You can triangulate sounds and eliminate whatever. But then it's also just like what I dive into with Grant Cameron. It's like, why aren't they holding a seance in this location? They're not pulling out a Ouija board or a pendulum, or, I mean, there's just so many other aspects that can, be brought into these situations in these locations. And it's just like, you ask some of these hunters this stuff and it's just like, oh, I've never thought about that. And it's like, really? You don't want the whole arsenal of,
but in the end,
or bags or tricks?
In the end, in the cryptid world, we're trying to prove the existence of cryptids. Doesn't matter whether it's Bigfoot, Dogman. There's a goal at the end. In ufology, okay, we're trying to solve, is there extraterrestrial life trying to come to Earth? Is it already here? Are people being taken? All right, for those of us who've experienced it, we already know. But when it comes to the paranormal, you want to screw up somebody in a paranormal investigation? All you do is ask them, what do you do with your evidence?
Yeah.
They don't know how to answer that question because 99% of them are not using the evidence for what it's for, and that is to solve answers. And don't give me this science stuff because it has nothing to do with science. The fact is, they're going to a location, like you said, Nicole, they're catching an EVP, they're catching maybe a shadow person on camera, whether a still camera or video, and that's it. They're not trying to solve the ultimate question, which is what happens when we die. That's what I want to know.
Well, and I think that's the difference between the public community and like people out there doing real work. Because when you speak to the real researchers, their end goal is to alleviate that situation, help that entity move on, stop the activity if it's bothering people, or create that bridge to where, you do solve this mystery. I think the paranormal is just like ufology. You look for it all out there, but then it's like this inner journey that you go on as well. Like, I don't know, my last paranormal hunt ended up in like 200 years worth of like family history and research and digging. And I mean, it was a glorious research
That's
thing.
interesting. I mean,
and
but the idea
that's when it gets interesting when you're actually helping someone. I mean, literally, my wife doesn't believe in any of this stuff, and we did a table tipping session over at the Hoover House in PA, and we literally crossed her uncle over into the light, and he died back in Hungary when he was like 6 months old. He's been in a state of flux for all these years, 70 plus years. And we literally crossed this spirit into the light. It was noticeable. That's something different. But the problem with the paranormal is they have all this equipment, but there's so many variables here. And I studied science. I studied physics and astronomy. And I can tell you right now that when you have a tri-field meter going and you have a lightning storm anywhere up to 15 miles away, it's going to affect your meter. That's not a ghost, and it's not science. Well, it's science, natural science.
Well, let's hear. Let's hear from Tom Whitmore here. Tom, I know you're more UFO than anything, but I mean, do you have an outlook on
what's the big deal?
Where can you get pizza, bread twists, specialty chicken, and more for just $5.99 each?
Is it at Domino's?
He hands off hand-tossed pizza and a marble cookie brownie. He's going! There's a lot of variety on the radio and at Domino's too, where you can
Mix and match 2 or more. $5.99 each at Domino's.
2-item minimum. Pan pizza, bone-in wings, and bread bowls will be extra. Ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper-gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper-gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber, internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
On what you feel the paranormal field is all about and why it's gone silent?
Well, if it's gone silent within recent memory, it's probably because the subject has been played out on TV and on video and all of that. And we have the same problem in all of these fields, whether it's cryptids or ghosts or spirits or UFOs. We've got a couple of problems. One is you don't know when you're going to see it or where you don't know when you're going to experience it or where. And second thing is you can't duplicate it. You can't replicate it. And those are, you mentioned science, Dave, but really that's how science operates, is you can take something into a laboratory and see if you can replicate a phenomenon or an effect. And because we're not able to do that, we haven't been able to produce anything concrete. We haven't been able to produce a UFO. We haven't been able to produce a ghost. We haven't been able to produce a Bigfoot. And I'm not putting down Bigfoot or cryptid investigations, but we all basically have the same problem because we're unable to produce what it is that we're advocating exists. Now, I know enough about UFOs to convince me that UFOs are real. I don't need any further convincing. But for the skeptics and for the more scientific types, we just don't fit into the scientific method very well. And you mentioned getting answers, but I think what we have to look for are clues, because our instrumentation, I think some instrumentation can pick up effects from UFOs, like under MASINT, measurement and signature intelligence. You can do that with UFOs. I'm not sure what you can do with ghosts, because it may be that we'd like to use certain tools like cameras or video recorders or tape recorders or whatever, and maybe those are the wrong instruments, and we haven't incrementally reached a point to know that maybe there's some other kind of instrumentation or some other kind of way of perceiving it, that will provide more evidence and provide more solid ground. So I think we just have to live with the frustration of, I think we can earnestly investigate and research these things. But as for getting solid answers, we still have a long way to go.
No, very, very true. Very true. But I think also, too, much like looking in the sky, Grant, for little dots flying in the sky and seeing whether or not they're UFOs, I think the paranormal has become more of a fad and a thrill-seeking event rather than actual study for a lot of these groups that are out there.
I agree with that. Every time I go outside, I look up and try to find one. I would love to be a part of an actual group that studies, tries to figure out what it is, and get your head wrapped around it. A lot of people that are out there that are like, even people that are watching this, they've all had their own experiences, and they all, some people are just going out to take out the trash, look up, and they're like, oh my gosh, and then they want to get out there and tell somebody about it. And the problem is just talking about it with somebody else. That's really not pushing it forward. It's getting it more aware, but we're really not taking any steps on trying to find out what it is. And the average Joe, like myself, who doesn't know where to even begin to start searching for this stuff. I can read books, I can go out there and listen to you guys, but when it comes straight down to it, there's going to be those rare few people that have the means, the ability to go out there and just say, hey, I want to know what this is. I'm going to go out and put my boots on the ground and start figuring it out. And, I'd love to see other people do it. And if I get a chance, I'd be right out there helping them.
I would too. But I think, like, for instance, I don't know how it is for anybody else, as we got about a minute left here. For me, when I go out, I'm not looking to solve anything. I already know that. I'm looking for answers for me. I don't care if I see anything on camera. I'm not there to play with my Mel meters or my K2s or my fleers or whatever. I'm there for me. And I think I can at least admit that. I wish the majority of the paranormal field would, because that's what it is. It's a thrill-seeking event, some looking for answers, some looking for moving the subject on, but not enough. We have 2 hours down, 1 hour to go here on the SOR Roundtable, which we do near the end of each month, where we hang out. I bring in some friends, and we talk about the month that was in the weird and strange. Joining us tonight from MUFON, we have Tom Whitmore, who does some great research on the MJ-12 as well. We have the Grantavious one, Grant Baker, who's growing a great mustache. He's an experiencer, former guest. Brian Bowden, the hippie machine, who has 14 podcasts alone on hippies. And Nicole Sackage, author, researcher, and part of the Spaced Out Radio team. Hour 3 is next. Those are gorgeous shirts, by the way. Gorgeous shirts.
Honestly, they're super duper comfy, soft. Like, oh, why haven't I lived in this for the last week?
You know, Dave, I might know the guy that hands these out, and I'll get you one.
Oh, yeah?
Who do I got to kill to get one? I got to go to Vegas.
I could get you one.
I have to send Dirty Filth his swag bag that he forgot. So he still has a bag of fun.
He did that on purpose just to make sure you'd still communicate with him.
He'll never not be able to communicate with me ever again.
The Dirty
I already
Filth.
have to visit
I'll be
Filth
right back.
now, too.
I still have Katie Grabowski's swag bag.
Do you? Oh, she'll get it in Colorado then, right? You guys are all going to get together. You know, it's like one of those things where I really do need a clone. I need to be in two places at once sometimes.
You need to be a doppelganger.
Yeah. I know. I hear they're mean, though. I
don't want a doppelganger at all.
Replica that will, dance and smile and have fun and visit with all my friends.
I need someone to take care of the chores, then take care of the kids, and then I can go off and play, in the woods.
There you go. Yeah.
That'd be
great.
I got to work, and then the one that just, has fun.
Yeah, that one too.
Well, you just wait until you.
Tom, I think you're. Sorry.
Ma'am.
Good.
This MUFON symposium, I think, is turning into quite the happening from what I can hear in the community and people that are planning on going. And of course, your lineup of speakers, like, it's going to be fun. That's how I'm like envious of the fun I'm going to miss out on. Like everybody who didn't get to join us in Vegas, I'll be like, oh man, all my friends were there. Shucks.
So why aren't you coming?
The same month I am, and see, this is, I was going to bring this up. We do this all on our own for so long and explore the woo. And like Dave said, it's like a part thrill seeking thing, part, is this really happening? But for the first time, I'm combining experiencer power and joining a heist group for a weekend event that we're going to do. And then the following week, I'm meeting with a few of the same people from that heist group. And we are going to have our first ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, Lord. Where is this and how much does it cost to get in?
There will be details that follow. This group that I'm doing it with for the first time is actually going to start hosting these ceremonies for the community. So there's going to be a website that's out fairly soon if it's not up, in a functional way already. But honestly, I mean, I'm going to do a full report of, this experience for me. So yeah, I'm a little nervous and I'm so excited. And honestly, this group of people is really small, and I've got to know a lot of them over the last couple of years. And I couldn't imagine like doing this endeavor with another group other than maybe my soul family I just met last week. So
You got to be with the right people for those type
Right.
of experience. You know what Grant was doing with little doses here. You really have to be in the right place and the right people.
Right.
Otherwise, it can get really funky.
no, and honestly, it's a closed private thing. We have a shaman there. We are going through the steps. This is something we have to prepare for like weeks in advance. And yeah, I mean, it's not for like I'm just going to have fun on a weekend. Like, no, that's not what this is about. So
yeah. I think, I've given up all that. I don't even drink anymore because I have to be a parent. Yeah, folks, I'm not a bad person. I just got to take care of my kids.
That's why I wasn't doing Grant's 12 chapters of psilocybin experiences with him. I was like, sorry, Grant.
But I personally think as far as a relationship of getting real information, he's on the right path because it has to do with your consciousness. It plays a key role in all these experiences, be it paranormal, cryptid, or UFO. It's your intention and your consciousness. And when you can release that, the chains that bind us, you seem to connect at that level. And it's that's where you're going to get some really good research.
Well, and that's where experiencers try to push this envelope and figure out these commonalities. And honestly, that so many of us try to play with these contact modalities by ourselves. And then we had the wave of Greer's CE5 come together, but that was very just like my technique works, do this, and not everybody had results with it, So we naturally find other avenues, and you can't go out seeking these things. I think they happen and come together, and that's how this group has happened. I mean, it's just our individual paths are finally merging, and we're gonna see what happens.
That's awesome.
So it's a first for a lot of us. So
you do want to
we got 20 seconds, guys.
You do want to be careful because that's really, really, really strong stuff.
Oh, it is, and that's why this is a serious thing, and
10
it's
seconds.
Not cheap, but it's not out there in the realm of anything. But no,
all right, hold on.
We're all finding our
Nicole. Sorry.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Quasidum. Quasidum is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the SOR Roundtable, and we are going around with a great group tonight. We have experiencer and former guest Grant Baker. We have Tom Whitmore from MUFON, Nicole Sakich, who is a researcher, author, and part of the Spaced Out Radio team, and the man, the myth, and the podcasting legend, Brian Bowden, 18,332 podcasts that he is currently hosting simultaneously while being live on our show. It's amazing how you do it, Brian. I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
I have several hands. I'm an alien, Dave. What can I tell you?
Oh, you heard it here, folks. Right here.
Finally, he admits it. Finally, he admits it. Let's get
Out of the
into
alien
Not
closet.
far away.
let's
Yeah.
get into the cryptid world a little bit, because this past month, I mean, as the snow starts to melt away in certain areas, except around here for some ungodly reason. All right, the cryptid world is starting to heat up, and of course, this always leads to the big question whether or not we are getting ready for the usual argument every year. Are we searching for a flesh and blood creature, or are we searching for something that's a little bit more supernatural or alien than that? But one of our guests, Robin McCrae, who I absolutely love and adore, states with her intuition that she has the ability to communicate with Sasquatch on a telepathic level. Could happen anywhere, anytime. All right. Now, for me, this one kind of, it's like having plaque on your teeth and you're rubbing your tongue on your teeth. It doesn't feel good, but who am I to sit there and say that this is wrong, that she's not experiencing this? Now, Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio has used Robin in a lot of his investigations and has literally had Sasquatch contact because of the things Robin has said. Now, logic states this shouldn't be real, Tom. Logic states that this is a bunch of big-time woo, but when others are having experiences from it, do we have to give it a little bit more energy to see if it's actually a strong ability to have?
Well, I mean, test it. Go to a place that she thinks she's communicating with a Bigfoot, which I would assume is probably some kind of a wooded area, and go there and, might maybe take a lawn chair and a notebook and sit with her and let her do her thing and see if she can make it happen. That's the only way I can think to examine a claim like that, is to test it, and not just one time. I mean, you'd have to do it a number of times, hopefully in the same situation, because if you go to different places, you can have different factors affecting the outcome. But you run a number of tests and see if anything happens. If nothing ever happens, then I think you might want to question her claim.
Well, and for obvious reasons. Like I said, to me, it's a tough one to swallow. I mean, I want to believe, she seems very honest and true with what she is saying, and there are people who go by her word within the Bigfoot community. But I mean, that's just power woo, Nicole. Power woo.
It is power woo until you run with Grant Cameron for 2 years, and then you're like, psh, and, honestly, okay, Dave, you remember my khaki pants days, and Tom, so do you, with William Poland. And it's like,
oh my God,
you try to explore this in a very skeptical, one-sided way. And then I had to put on my woo hat and to explore the woo. I had to find out why Pleiadians are Pleiadians and all that stuff. I kind of look at it the same way with this. It's like you do have to suspend that skepticism a little bit and try to jump in and put me back on track, because I just lost my train of thought.
Well, just in regards to believing whether or not she could actually communicate with Sasquatch.
I mean, I remember I was blown away the first time I saw Bashar take over Daryl Anka. Or even some lesser famous channels that, whether they're channeling a spirit or an ET, an ultra terrestrial, it's just until you see it and experience it, you honestly really don't know how to wrap your head around it. And I would just encourage people to not count it out until they can investigate it for themselves. And I don't really know how to test it. And I think that's what is hard. You can't test it except for gather the information on it and see if, if they're a psychic, if what they say comes true. If this lady is getting results from some sort of download connection, I mean, that is something I follow. I think, it goes back to, I laugh, the ancient Romans and Greeks, this goes back to Socrates saying, all the knowledge is out there. We just have to pull it back out of the ether kind of thinking. So, I mean, who's to say? I mean, we might be calling this Sasquatch, but we really don't know what she's in tune with and the effects of it. Just like with anybody else, if they're calling this a Palladian collective or Bouchard or grandpa that died 2 years ago, there's always kind of that stark slap in the face of how did they get the information that just came out of their mouth? And how does their whole physical being change like that? And I don't know, it fascinates me. And this is an area of this high strangeness that I honestly just can't get enough of. I need to canvas more of it and experience more of it to try to collect that data and find parallels or differences. Like, I need to go to a sitting circle, physical mediumship. I just can't wait. That's going to happen for me sometime.
Very true. Grant, I want to bring you in here because you have had a supernatural type experience with Sasquatch at your home in Oregon, I believe. And when you hear claims like, "What's the big deal?"
Where can you get pizza, bread twists, specialty chicken, and more for just $5.99 each?
Is it at Domino's?
He hands off hand-tossed pizza and a marble cookie brownie. He's going!
There's a lot of variety on the radio and at Domino's too, where you can
Mix and match 2 or more. $5.99 each at Domino's.
2-item minimum. Pan pizza, bone-in wings, and bread bowls will be extra. Ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
How do you feel about it?
So the one I seen was actually in California and in Shasta County. And I think on that particular occasion, I've had paranormal stuff happen to me previously to that. I don't know if it's a mindset or anything else. Now, based on my experience, I didn't see any hollow tube hair. I didn't have any kind of weird shimmering around him. It was a live physical being. He cast shadows. He was staring right at me. I mean, it was an actual eye-to-eye contact. And so when I hear people talk about, their sightings, I'm one of the one that's biased on the side that he's real, just because, I had seen him myself. And I'm not talking videotape 100 yards away. He was within 12 large steps of me. I mean, he was really close. And so when it comes to putting on your woo-woo hat when you have these cryptid sightings, I'm kind of biased and leaning towards it. At least Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, is real. Now, the thing is when you have the psychic ability where you can communicate with them psychically, like Tom says, let her do it, sit her down, be there. And I've already had my experience. I'd love to have another one. There's a lot of stories out there that scare the living daylights out of me. So I don't know if I'd really go rushing into the woods just to go see one. But, like some of your sightings where there's something beside that tree and seeing something out in the distance or the hooping and hollering. I'd love to hear all that. And I see a lot of people that have those stories. But just like that, I want to believe that she can do that. I'd like to believe that a lot of people can do that. But yet again, it's the nuts and bolts for me because I didn't see through it. It was a solid, animate object that straight up ran from me, and I could hear him even though it was very subtle through the manzanita. So it's one of those deals where I'm a believer. Nobody can change my mind. If you do change my mind that it's more consciousness, then I'm more than willing to go down that route. It just has to be, more scientifically tested, or we just have to open our minds and,
Maybe that's the key, opening our minds, because Grant, a lot of people will sit there and say, okay, I've had communication with spirit. I've had communication with extraterrestrials. Why can't we have telepathic or mind speak with Sasquatch or other cryptid creatures as well?
Exactly.
All right.
And see, on my particular...
Go ahead, finish up.
All right, on my particular thing, there was no transmission, there was no psychic anything, and it was more of a staring contest, and I think it was just like, oops, I don't need to be here, and that's when he took off. Well, my BB gun, but
I can see that.
BB gun, nice.
Yeah, no BBs.
Brian Bowden, let's get to you. You are a cryptid hunter. You're more into the whole dogman aspect of everything, but this whole idea of telepathically communicating with Sasquatch. I mean, are you into it? Are you not into it? What do you think's going on?
So actually, I'm more of a Bigfoot guy than a Dogman guy. And I really don't want to have any more interactions with that creature whatsoever. But I was always a flesh and blood guy because that makes sense logically through the sciences and the fossil record. And it wasn't until on an investigation where we had a Bigfoot and it went from point A to point B, which was about 1.5 miles down the road in an instant. And at that point, everything changed. And that's when the physics started coming back into my being. And there is something very, you talk to woo, I call it interdimensional. And I think that there are individuals out there that are more in tune with their gifts and abilities, which deals with the consciousness and the third eye, like psychics that can tell you things that they shouldn't know, and they know it. So I know of people that have had telepathic communication with these creatures. I have yet to have that experience. I'm waiting and wanting to. And like you said, and like Tom said, it's really easy to prove. She goes and you just keep testing her for someone to take this project on. And I'm sure she would agree. We're going to go and test this out. We're going to ask questions, and we're going to say, can we, come back here a week from today, a couple of nights from tonight, and do this again and see if we get the same answer or something different. That's easily to be, you can get that evidence right there. It's just trying to wrap your mind around it. Mm-hmm. You have to understand that if we started using our consciousness, we open up that pineal gland, decalcify it, and you really start meditating, or I do remote viewing very well, actually. And it's still, I question what I'm doing because I shouldn't be able to be peeking into other places if I'm sitting where I'm sitting right now. But I can do it. It's something, it takes time to wrap your mind around things or abilities that people do have and they're really good at doing. So for the fact that she talks to Bigfoot Sasquatch, God bless her. I'd love to be able to. We've had interactions with these creatures. We have a couple of spots where we're kind of gifting and we're trying to build a rapport. But he or she hasn't said, "Hey, can you bring me a Miller Lite?" The next time you come around, which I would.
Hey, how did you know? That's one of my favorite gifting things, whether
There
it's
you
for
go.
Sasquatch or ETs.
Or ET or anybody at this point. It's good. They love that stuff. So yeah, it's like you kind of want to believe, but the science or the logical side, and when I say science side, is what we've learned in life. You shouldn't be able to do this. You shouldn't be able to walk through a solid object. But physics and quantum physics is going to prove all we've been talking about, and it's starting to open up now. And you're gonna be able to go out on I know you don't hate the word squatching. I hate it too, but you'll be able to have a filter there that is quantitatively aligned, where you will start seeing things that will answer all your questions. They will not be able to disappear or hide at that point.
I understand that, and I can appreciate that. You know, the Sasquatch apparently tell her a lot of things. They tell her about the environment, how many there are with them. They tell her what they're eating and where they're going to be. You know, this past weekend where Robin and Duke were staying at the Bigfoot conference in Nebraska, they woke up, there was handprints all over the car of Sasquatch. She was able to pick that up. I mean, I would love that ability, man. Love that ability.
Fingerprint that car. Let's get it. Let's see.
You can see, that's the whole thing. You can have it. Everybody can have it. You are, you being in this field isn't just, hey, you woke up one day. You had an experience. You were chosen, whether you liked it or not. And you have the ability to go into your woods. Seriously, sit there for a little bit. It's all about your intention. If you meditate on, I'm going to come out to the woods today. I want to have some kind of interaction with you. Will you interact with me? And do that before you go out there. That's what we do with an active, intelligent encounter. Then we go out to the spot, and we sit there, clear our mind of all the crap for the day, and we say, we just want to have an interaction with you. We mean you no harm. We just want to know you're here. Mm-hmm. And that's how you bring in craft, and that's how you bring in these creatures. It's almost foolproof. They know, Dave, when you leave your house and you start pulling up to that spot, they know you're there. And all you now have to do is use your own mind, say it in your head. I'd like to have an interaction with you. Can you please make your presence known? I guarantee you, may not be the first time, but within 5 chances of you doing that or trips, you're going to have that interaction. And then you may get the telepathic communication at that point.
Well, that's also the same lingo that you're supposed to use in order to be able to summon UFOs.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. Everything boils down to vibration, sound, frequency, and consciousness. That is the key to this whole thing. I've discovered a long time ago. That's why another great way to have an interaction with ETs and even enhanced spirits in the paranormal, bring a Tibetan singing bowl with you and start using it and vibrate that frequency in the air. I guarantee you, if it's your craft you want, you're going to start bringing in craft. If it's Bigfoot you want, you'll be bringing in Bigfoots. I don't recommend you bring in any type of dog, man. I really wish this thing never really exists. I thought it was a joke. It's not a joke, but that's that's the key there. If you want to call them in, frequency, sound, vibration, and you're conscious. Works every time.
Grant?
That was well said.
Grant, would you... Go ahead.
I was just wondering if the military knows that, and that's how they're probably calling them in.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh, I would say
anybody that's looking at this for a long time knows about like heist and sea protocols or the rundown. Whether or not they utilize it is probably a crapshoot. But I wish I would have known these things when I first was interested in Bigfoot, and when we had a lot of sightings in my county that happened across a short period of time. So of course it was kind of like, oh man, Bigfoot's in the middle of my sky watching turf. That sort of thing. It's like I can't get rid of this guy or away from him. But honestly, That's the only thing that has sent me running from one of my sky watching locations. It wasn't a ET encounter. It was seriously, I got scared and then I ran, tripped, peed my pants, and then laughed my ass off.
It's a depends moment. We call them depends moments where you better have some depends on environment.
No, but I mean, no shame, honestly. Like I did. I was scared and then I fell and I laughed because I was seriously, I was like, am I so scared? Like, and I was. So I don't know. That ended my last Bigfoot hunt.
Well, and it's something that's very interesting. I personally believe that there is no connection between Sasquatch, the creature, and aliens. It's not like aliens' pets or anything. They are their own entities.
Right.
And they do what they do because it's innate. I always tell people, tell me how you breathe. How did you know when you were born to breathe? It's within you. It's part of your system. And I think that these creatures, this is why you get a lot of light anomalies with these creatures, and you get battery drain. They're transferred. They have the ability to take their energy and change it and transfer it into a different form so they can travel interdimensional. And when you do science experiments and transfers of energy from point, one type A to B, there's always a spark or there's a off. You get off spray from this. And that's why you're seeing these lights. It's not because they're aliens. It's because they're hiding from you because they know what humans do to people. We're not nice. We kill things. And they don't want to have anything to do with it. So I believe when they're here physically, they are flesh and blood, but they have the ability to change their molecular structure and travel interdimensionally at will.
Well, when we return for the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio here on the Roundtable, we're going to get back into UFOs and ETs. Why not? Because we love our woo around here, and so does our great panel. Even Tom Whitmore, who was literally ripping off his shirt on the bars of Vegas, was literally chanting, "I'm a UFO guy," spinning his shirt all around to the dance music.
Hey, when you're with Dave, what happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas.
That is very true. Tom Whitmore, Grant Baker, Brian Bowden, Nick Olsakich. We got this great panel for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Stick around. We're going to wrap things up with the final half hour next. Oh, God. You know what the worst part about it is? I can picture it. I can totally picture it. Tom standing on top of the bar. You guys don't know anything about the aliens.
All it would take is a bottle of cough syrup.
Oh, Lord. See? Yep.
Woo. Break the tank.
I was teasing Dave a little bit last night that we might have gotten Lou to spill some beans because of that nice fever state he had going on last night during the show. So, fever states, cough medicine.
What are you talking about?
Whatever works.
He threw me. He threw me out to the wolves.
No, he didn't. He elevated you 10 feet above the rest. That's exactly what he did. So.
Yeah. Hey, Jonathan Davies, UFO Fight Club needs to hear that story where Elizondo literally called me out.
Watch last night's show.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, I got a question real quick. So generally we think Bigfoot's nice. You gave out your nobody should mess with Dogman just a few minutes ago. So what are your thoughts on Mothman being like this entity that is like, that gives warning, like he did with the bridge collapse and everything. And like, we've had some sightings here in Chicago over the last few years.
Had a lot of
randomly, but kind of not investigated either. But there is that like whisper of, is something going to go down? I mean, it's not the level of Keel investigating but.
Okay, so I don't think Bigfoot's like this, like carrying the Hendersons. It is a massive creature that will kill you. Right. They have bad days too, and they kind of want to be by themselves. As far as the Mothman is concerned and what's been going on in Chicago, do you know where the first collider in the world was?
Tennessee, or was it in Chicago?
It was Firm Lab in Chicago.
Okay.
And when they turned it on and ramped it up and they immediately shut it back down, it was the same time that the Mandela effect happened. I do believe that the Mothman type of, or these flying humanoids that you're seeing in Chicago now, which are like Mothman, aren't warners, or they're not warning you about events to happen. They're interdimensional beings that have come through a rip in the time space between our time space and another due to the collider.
You know, honestly, that kind of makes a little more sense to me, because you're right. It's not this Mothman that was like in West Virginia or on the Ohio River. You are getting variations of it. And this one that is sort of, and I hate saying this, but that looks like a bat. Like, so I don't want to say it's Batman, and I mean, you know, like the Great Lakes up there and the chain of lakes, and there is like this aquatic thing that keeps getting reported. And I'm not going to call him Aquaman or Fishman or whatever, but nobody's decided on a name. But honestly, where does all this come from? So the Fermi thing.
The Firm Lab, the first collider. Now you have to understand something. When you have the Mothman, where Keel was investigating West Virginia, where was it staying? It was staying at a dynamite plant. Okay, again, what you're talking about is something that's producing energy, and I believe the energy from the collisions that we're doing now, as well as the energy they may have had a couple of explosions at that plant, created rifts in our space-time. And allows, you know, it's kind of like, think about it, if you were in a room that was dark and all of a sudden a little crack came up and it was light there, you're like, oh, what's that? And they've been slipping in and out of it because that rift is not connected back again.
To me, I've been trying to like fit it in with like, when you always take it back to like whatever's native in your area, you know what I mean? The Native Americans folklore stories, and we have all these giant mounds in the Midwest that spread from Wisconsin, you know, down into Missouri and Kentucky. And like you just pointed out, these colliders, Illinois is kind of sandwiched between whatever's going on in Chicago and whatever's happening down in Tennessee. So I call this area, this swath.
We got 15 seconds.
The corridor. It cuts straight through Illinois like a superhighway.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, we got 5 seconds. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for tuning us on in. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives. Just head on over to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, we bring in our great panel that has been talking all sorts of weird and strange all night long. We have experiencer and former guest Grant Baker, Brian Bowden, the Double B, who literally owns the rights to about 14,000 podcasts. Nicole Sakic, researcher, author, part of Team SOR as well, and from MUFON's board of directors, Tom Whitmore. And we're going to get back into the UFO world here for just a little bit because, Lou Elizondo stated that he expects more information to be coming down the pike here very, very soon regarding more names, more news regarding this, maybe even more legislation. Tom, I want to start with you on this because I know you follow this quite closely and it's endearing to you.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme is everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.
What do you think we can see moving forward, and what do you think we should be seeing at this point?
Well, I can tell you, Dave, and the audience what I hope we'll see, but there's been something going on. I've kind of heard through the grapevine and through sources that I can rely on that there have been committees in Congress that have been briefed by the DoD about this whole UAP question, and they've been fed a line of bull. In other words, the reports have been redacted, and they have not been receiving the real information. And I think some of them are getting awfully tired of that. And the fact that we have the legislation that we have had come out is an indication that they're sick and tired of not getting the information that they feel like they deserve. So, and I like to say that if we ever get disclosure, as in Big D, that it's going to be redacted, but at least it's something. And what I think is going to happen is I think the Congress or the congressional committees, the intelligence committees, are going to be getting more information. They're going to be getting more good information. But I don't think that we, the public, are going to get most of that or even any of it. What I do hope is that they will leak. Maybe some people in the congressional committees will leak some information, or maybe we'll get another whistleblower or two. Now, if Elizondo says that more people are coming out, I don't know who that is. If it's people we already know, I think that's going to be disappointing to us in the UFO community. But it might be good for the general public. So I'm expecting with this legislation and with regular reports and hopefully better quality reports to the congressional people that some of this trickles down to us in the public.
Well, I'm hoping too. I think it would be very interesting to see how much further this conversation goes. But Tom, do you see it continuing with the entire threat narrative? Is that the realm that we're going to see, almost like we're going backwards with information regarding the aviation and the possibility of threats in the sky over the United States?
Well, if it's coming from the DoD angle, I think they will probably express it in some way or another related to a threat, because that's the lens that they use to process information. Is it a threat or not? And you have UFOs or UAPs, whatever you want to call them, going across so-called restricted airspace, say in an exercise area in the Pacific or the Atlantic, where we have a fleet of ships. But the UFOs, whoever's running the UFOs, they may not know that it's restricted airspace. That may mean nothing to them. And if you have a deer jump over the fence and run across an Air Force base, it's technically in violation of security, but is it a threat? And another thing I'd like to point out is that there's been some awfully good investigation done on the basis of are UFOs a threat to the safety of aircraft. But I think that that's a pretext, because I don't know of a single instance where a UFO has caused a plane to crash. Now, it's possible that there are one or more instances within the military records that have not been made public. But publicly, I don't know of a single instance where a UFO has caused a plane to crash. And some people look at it in terms of safety, but I don't really see that as a threat.
Nicole, let's get your opinion.
I think they'll push the threat narrative to squeak all the money out of it that they possibly can for the military-industrial complex. And when they've squeaked that last little penny, then they might turn it over to the sciences and academia and move the ball forward a little more that way. But right now, no, I think they're still going to use that threat narrative. But what I would like to call out, like I always do with this threat narrative, is like Tom says, there hasn't really been these incidences where, flights have gone down or anything like that. If anything, we see these instances like the Nimitz and the Tic Tacs and Faber coming forward, where this sounds like, to me, a form of communication. Like we are being interacted with. We need to figure this out, not just try to exploit it for whatever means we think we can. So that brings me back to the other thing I like to say is, when are we going to get off this Navy narrative of this is only happening over our oceans and over, our nuclear capable ships, whether they're submarines or battleships, whatever they're called, destroyers. And, the Air Force over Illinois is calling these things unauthorized civilian drones. So why aren't we making arrests for civilians that are operating civilian drones that aren't licensed or registered? And this isn't just Illinois. This is like the latest one, but we've seen these drones, the mystery drones. So I think the Air Force needs to open their big mouth, start calling these things what they are, so we can investigate these things over our land, not just our seas or our sea space, airspace. Like, investigate corn country. Tell me that that's not a threat. They obviously haven't wiped out all of Illinois and Indiana. So,
would that be a good idea?
To wipe out the middle of the country? No, but we have these things engaging citizens, not just our military, and that's what I'm meaning. So where's that investigation? I've been lighting up Scott Air Force Base in Illinois for the last 2 weeks. What are they doing? Nothing, because it's a civilian issue. So what are the police departments doing? Nothing, because they don't know what to do.
What can they do?
Exactly. Look for people that are operating unauthorized drones. But how does that happen when drones are crossing state lines? They don't operate for more than 30 minutes at a time, and you can't find a home base for any of these things. So what is it? They don't crash. So it's not somebody going out and trying to find their hundreds of $1,000 drone that they've built mysteriously. Like, I don't know. There's rich people out here in corn country. They can't do anything without the gossip vine going crazy. And it's like, so-and-so bought this, so-and-so bought that. There you have this project going on. And to even launch these things, you need an airfield. These aren't like your little drone. Like, you need an airstrip. So where's their airstrip? Their secret airstrip. Sorry, I went on a complete tangent there, but so far there hasn't been beams or explosions or anything happening in Illinois. It's is what it is. It's not threatening. It's a mystery. And I don't understand why everybody isn't outside trying to solve it. So not my crew in Illinois. We were all out for the last 3 weeks. We tracked these things, and it's amazing, but we still have zero answers. So.
And that's what it comes down to. Zero answers. Let's get to Brian Bowden on this topic. Where are we going with it? What do you expect to happen over the next 6 months?
I expect that Black Project budget's going to increase dramatically because that's how they can spend money on everything. And once you get to like the U.S. population or the public, you really got to do something. But when you get to a military instance or that threat, well, it's a threat, then they can be more secretive about it. And I think someone that is probably reverse engineering stuff within our military, they know what this is. No one should be fooled by it. They know there are people there that have levels of clearance that blow these people in Congress and the Senate away. And they know that we have reverse engineered these crafts. We've been using them. We can fly them over people and bases and test them out to see, because some people don't know that we have them. And it's going to be a black budget project. It's going to be in the trillions because they're printing money like it's going out of style now. And we'll never know the truth about it. Hopefully you'll get like Tom, and it may have mentioned, hopefully we get some whistleblowers and you'll get more of this footage. But I agree with Nicole. I mean, there are people being abducted all the time. What about the woman abducted in front of the Secretary General of the United Nations? Out of our apartment building. How come we're not investigating that case? And say, how come that's not being brought up? Is it a fear factor? Like, the day after disclosure, is Dolan going to get another book out of this deal or something? Or is it, they don't really want to know, because the people that really do know, they know it's real. And they know we have certain technology, but we're never going to be the same as them. Never.
I think they don't know how to help people. They don't know how to help experiencers. They can't make it stop. They can't exploit it. So they just
do they not want to help people, or they don't really care to help people?
This brings up a good point, though. What about the news recently where it was announced earlier this month that all of a sudden they have been looking into reports from MUFON and other places, Tom, about what experiencers have been going through, including the idea of hybridized children that are out there. I mean, it doesn't seem like everything's off the table, that it's all about military operations over the ocean.
Yeah, and you don't even have to go to MUFON for that. There's plenty of material in the UFO literature about abductions and hybridization. There are all kinds of videos out there on YouTube, people talking about hybridization. Even Richard Doty, former AFOSI person, has gone on many podcasts and talked about hybridization. So it doesn't surprise me that there's some discussion of that. Now, any people, whether they're in government or out of government, if they're diligently going through the UFO material that's available, whether it's MUFON database or whether it's other material in the public, they're going to run across that. They're going to run across a lot of things. And they've already, really begun to talk about the physical effects that have happened to people that have been close to a UFO or close to a situation. And I think as this discussion, as this conversation progresses in government, I think we're going to hear about more things like that and other things as well.
Were you surprised, Tom, when MUFON's name was brought up in that report?
No, not at all.
Did you know about it?
For one thing, there's been some effort to lobby with certain people in the Congress to include MUFON in the discussion, and that because we can and should have a place in helping bring this conversation forward. So that doesn't surprise me at all.
Grant, let's get your opinion. You sit there quietly.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm listening to all the great answers, actually. In fact, I kind of pick and choose of what I want, like the first part of Brian's and Nicole and Tom, how the one thing I have on it is I don't know what they know, nobody does. Either it's a couple dudes out there somewhere that know it all. They compartmentalize everything. We have reverse engineer. Then you have a lot of the things where these experiencers, these people that have been abducted, like talk about the ones that are flying the ship. So if we're reverse engineering this stuff, and this is a conscious ship, like you hear a lot of these stories where they had to put their hands on pads and the ship would enter their consciousness or vice versa, and it was alive. And then they would just think of somewhere and be there. How do you reverse engineer something like that? How do you create something that's going to be alive and sentient? And so either there's a lot of different little sections out there that are trying to work on this one big problem, and they're not talking to each other and they're not getting it done, or the government knows what's going on. They already got their own, TR3s or whatever they're called, the triangle crafts, and they've already figured most of this out. And maybe the world's not really, you, me, anybody on this show that's watching this that's interested, we're ready for it. We already know it's real, and there's a ton of people out there that do. But we don't want an Edward Snowden style whistleblower. I don't know if people can handle something like that, where it's just like, blam, here it is. Here's what it is. Here's pictures. Here's proof. This is what they're doing. I don't know if anybody's really ready for that. And if they are going to do, black book budget style, let's make trillions of dollars trying to throw it at this thing and just make as much money as we can and do it for as long as we can and just keep giving us the breadcrumbs. We're going to suck it up, obviously. We're going to take everything we can get. My personal opinion, though, they know it's real. They know it just as well as you and I. They've seen it, whether it's consciousness or nuts and bolts or a little bit of both. It doesn't matter. It's going to come out someday. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon.
Part of what you were saying before, you got to understand that when we've moved technology-wise, and usually it's military first, when they came out with the Apache helicopter, there is a component where you're not doing anything but thinking that you want certain features, and you're using your eyes to actually select it. So the step from going from using your eyes to visually see something, select it, and make it an action, to your brain or touching something physical is very possible, especially because we are electricity. We have a current going through our bodies, and we can manipulate it. Mm-hmm. So maybe this whole process of are they going to go with the threat, or now they're investigating the abductions? That's kind of like disclosure, but on a very low level. You're building up to disclosure. Because if people find out that we have no control over these aliens, we have no control over their craft, they can destroy us at will, there are people now that will just, I don't need to listen to you, and it'll be mayhem. So maybe it's a controlled, build up to a release or a full disclosure that we're talking about right now.
Well, a full disclosure I can see. But they've been around forever. These guys, whoever these aliens are, they've been around forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's
They're doing
you
what
even
they're
see
doing
it.
because they want to.
Yeah,
We have no say in it.
No, we have nothing to say. They're the ones that are in control. So full disclosure is going to be on them if it's going to be anytime soon, in my mind.
Well, we've got about 1 minute to go here on the roundtable, and I have to say that this has been an incredible panel tonight on the SOR roundtable, which we do at the end of each month here on the show. And I got to say, we covered a lot of hot topics, from paranormal to UFOs to the future, cryptids, what's going on. Let's just hope that the month of May is just as exciting as the month of April was. And somehow, I think that it just may be around the buildings and the walls of the mighty SOR. So we want to say a giant thank you tonight to our great panel, Mr. Tom Whitmore from MUFON and his research on MJ12, to experiencer and party animal Grant Baker, who represents the fans from the Las Vegas party, the man who literally has 32,000 podcasts, moving at once, playing at once, and heck, just because we did this show, he'll likely start one more, Brian Bowden. I'm going to. And to the newest member of the Spaced Out Radio team, who I've been nagging for 3.5 years to finally join us, researcher, author, fantastic cook, Nicole Sakic, and everybody out there. I got to say a big thank you to all our fans who literally showed up in Las Vegas to hang out with us for the first ever Spaced Out Radio fan party. And if you're listening in Radio Land, you want to come to this event next year. We're going to be announcing next year's dates very, very soon, because it's the party that needs to continue. And damn it, we're going to make sure it continues in 2023 for old Davey's 50th birthday party. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening out at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we own the night.
Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
It's finally time to start firing up the grill. From city to shore, Acme has everything you need to prep for this summer season. Download the Acme app to shop for this season's essentials any way you want. Open the Acme app, clip your deals, then order your items online. An experienced Acme associate will carefully select your groceries, bag your order, and bring it right to your car or deliver right to your door. Download the app or visit acmemarkets.com for program details.